Murder means we got
like our associates, and it's just different. So again, when I say that, even us, we were probably a small part of a
no.
bigger picture. You know what I
Right.
mean? And I don't think that those names are going to be mentioned in those type of stories, right? And I do want to tell you, like I'm with 50 when we have this conversation. I will say this: I'm confident, and I think that our people are going to actually help accomplish this. Is that if everything works out the way it's been going, that who's going to have the best TV
We got the
series?
Flores
And
Twins
I'm 100%
CHI-ILL Reacts.
confident that we will have probably the number one show that's going to be bigger than BMF, bigger than Power, and that's because it's the culture, right? It's our people. I think we bring the light. If everything works out the way it's been going, that who's going to have the best TV series? And I'm 100% confident that we will have probably the number one show that's going to be bigger than BMF, bigger than Power, and that's because it's the culture, right? It's our people. I think we bring the Latin Hispanic era, along with what the culture is. I think I'm confident about that as well. It has been done, and I have to respect that they actually did it. They put the story on TV. I watch it, I keep up with it. It's gonna be a little bit different from theirs, but that's their story, and I'm a fan looking from afar, right?
I believe that there's so much room for so much with this story
Yeah,
that
but y'all
the
hearing
possibilities are endless, and
basically
you'd have to
saying
do
like
some real hard work to mess it up. BMF's been
that's
successful, Power
Flores
Universe been
Twins
successful, Greenlight Gang
CHI-ILL
as a whole
Reacts.
has been successful. So I expect nothing. I expect nothing but exponential growth, and this is the story that can
They
lead to
talking
that.
about 50
I
Cent
see years
Pop.
down the line of we're gonna be here a while doing after shows, y'all.
Man, I can't wait to see Chicago out there on the big screen, like in a real way.
Big
I'm
meech
excited about that. And tell that different side of the story. We see people in New York and all over the place, have their stories out. I
Right.
feel like it's our turn, that's for sure. And I see some people in the comments. Jay, man, some dude named Traffic saying, "What's up?"
Are you really the last person to find out about this skip ads forever button?
Yeah, but basically we got the Flores Twins talking about BMF, how they compare to them, and how they was the biggest come out of the US, out of Chicago, and they had members,
I'll tell you, I read
members bigger than Big Meech. They feel like
um, I hope they're all doing good, especially someone like Traffic. Shouts out to him and all those people I was in prison with, who I tried to mentor. And I told them that, what was coming, and I'm sure they're laughing about it right now. But um, I'm really looking forward to, for sure, putting chi on the map. I tell 50 all the time, who actually know the business. Like, look, a couple of my guys, were, what I'm saying, actually, we're
Jay, how you feel about all these comments and questions about this BMF shit? Who was getting more? Who was doing more? Who was pushing more?
Oh, you know what? Before I let my brother get at it, I want to say something. Like when it comes to Big Meech and Terry, right? For sure, I think that for the culture, for that era, especially in hip hop, like they were the man, right? They put like BMF on the map with all the shit they were doing. Like I started hearing about them like in 2001, and they did things like in a big way uh, for the hip hop culture, right? But I feel like that was their stamp, right? That's what they wanted to do. Um, and for sure, I think it's gonna go down in history as like one of the most known drug trafficking organizations. As
Super
far as like,
influential.
yeah, super influential. I think that when there's no competition when it comes to who had the most influence or who was probably the most known, um, when it comes to Big Meech and Terry and BMF, for sure they have that title. But in terms when it comes to actual business, I really, like, with all due respect to them, I feel like we're on another level, for sure, by far. I think that for those people who actually know the business, like, look, a couple of my guys were, what I'm saying, actually were a part of their crew and back and forth. But as far as just on our own, us standing alone, I think there's no competition. Just in the coolest way, right? I respect that they didn't tell that they were for the culture, what they did for the music business, right? Me being a part of it, there was like the biggest thing ever, right? And I used to have these conversations with people in prison all the time, and I used to always say, like, you know what? When it comes to the business, right? I really believe that Big Meech and Terry, if they keep it real or they keep it 100, that they would say it on their own. That us and them when it comes down to it, that they were like we're at that high drug trafficking level, but in reality, like we never had a middleman. Um, Basically, I respect them. I respect their culture and what they did for actually the. I'm gonna tell you, I ran across a bunch of people that I was actually.
We're gonna be here a while doing after shows, y'all.
Man, I can't wait to see Chicago out there on the big screen, like, in a real way. I'm excited about that, and tell that different side of the story. We see people in New York and all over the place, have their stories out.
Right.
I feel like it's our turn, that's for sure. And I see some people in the comments. Jay, man, some dude named Traffic saying, "What's up?"
Some name Traffic. Oh, Traffic. What up? I'm gonna tell you, I ran across a bunch of people that I was actually in prison with. I hope they're all doing good, especially someone like Traffic. Shouts out to him and all those people I was in prison with, who I tried to mentor. And I told them that, what was coming, and I'm sure they're laughing about it right now. But I'm really looking forward to, for sure, putting chi on the map. I tell 50 all the time, this is not even just about Chi-Town, this is about the culture, right? About Hispanics, us getting a chance to put real people on TV where you don't have to watch Univision, Telemundo, right? And Chi, this goes out to you. You're acting. I'm thinking about what it can mean to actors just like you, inspiring actors, right? That we could actually put people who understand, what it was to be born and raised in those type of environments, and actually being able to put them on the screen and tell real life stories. Like, hell yeah, it pisses me off when I see the Ozarks being number one and they take a story from Mexican cartels, and they turn into this white America story, right? And it's like, yeah, that bothers me. You get me? I feel like, man, at least give us a chance to put a real story out there where Hispanics benefit in a way that is not always getting the bad credit, right? And that's what I'm about for sure.
Yeah, and be able to tell them intricate stories about how really the Latin culture, the Black culture do come together and make money, man. It's sad to see everybody fighting. Everybody's about themselves, and like I said before, the cartel don't work that way. When it's successful, because a bunch of people come together, to work for that one thing, that's to be successful, to make money. Now you see everyone wants to, be the man out there. Everybody, everybody's like, it feels like they want to be Tony Montana. It doesn't work that way. My brother and I always had an attitude of, building relationships, and bridges, and how can we, continue to make money. It was about the long term, playing the long game always. No egos.
We're working on a documentary right now. I'm gonna tell you something. I respect the 50, right? Man, he when it comes to business, he knows exactly what he's doing. Everything is happening for a reason, but for sure, we always talk about it. That I believe that our upcoming TV series is probably going to be the number one show. Is going to be bigger than Power, bigger than BMF, bigger than anything he has done, especially when it comes to the Latin community, and everyone that, I feel like the audience for sure is going to gravitate to it. And you said it plenty of times, right? Our life is stranger than fiction, right? You can't make this shit up. And 50 himself has stated plenty of times, like, look, I don't need someone to make anything up. I just need someone to tell the story.
Yeah, if you've been here though, it's Murder Men TV. This shit.
Us as a people, we're always, Tupac or Biggie, or we always pick our sides and pick and choose. And lately, the conversation around here has been, who was the real boss? Was the real boss Chapo? Was the real boss Mayo? Chapo was just the fall guy. Chapo was just this, that. Can y'all clear up any of that for us?
And I think we both can. I think Jay and I will both agree that it sucks to hear when people just disrespect someone. Just Chapo's obviously in prison now, but he was obviously the boss. He's just as boss as any boss. I don't think that there's too many people that made it to his level, and I always compare it to my brother and I. We're equally partners in the business, and I see him and Mayo the same way, and of course maybe Mayo is a little bit stronger, or a little bit more handling a lot more business, but they needed each other. That's obvious.
I don't know, y'all. I think his show gonna be better than BMF. He talking about they had a show that'd be bigger than BMF. That's crazy. I don't know about that, but oh see, man.
And his reign's been a little longer, like Mayo, and I think it helped to have someone to take all that heat off of him.
Well, I mean, to me, we're both the bosses of their own organizations, and Mayo being the boss for over 40 years, of course, had that advantage where but I just don't see a number one and number two. And for sure, in my dealings with them, they always respected each other as, they don't care about number one, number two. That's everyone else. But I think that just because Chapo's been in prison now, that little whole
show is, is over now. They look for the next person, and to me, Arturo Bertan Leyva and Mayo Chapo were all bosses, in their own right, and there was never such thing as who was number one, who was number two. If that makes any sense. I think that's public, or that's government, whatever makes it sound good, but always trying to see who has the number one spot. But I just didn't see it like that. I thought that they each had their own organization, and Chapos could have been powerful, or stronger in one aspect, and Maya was Maya's could have been stronger in another. But of course, Maya's continues to be the boss to this day. So
Do you think there was one that was, I don't know, maybe one easier to work with than the other?
For sure, man. Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. I think that Jay would agree. We had a choice. We would, our loyalty probably be with Mayo for sure. Yeah, Mayo was he really took a liking to us, and he was a businessman for sure. Like, it was easy. He was not going to ask why. He respected a lot of our decision, or just whatever we could come up with to make things work. And he always rode with us. Yeah, it was a lot easier to do business with Mayo than Chapo for sure. That agent did that interview, and he talks about going in front of the committee and speaking. They did that because he's the only fool that was going to back up everything they say. I mean, not that he carried any weight for him to actually say those things about Chapo, like he was never boss. It's just stupid,
Oh, yeah. We're talking about Better Yes, Hector Better Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I think because now it's over. Now he's not the topic, I guess, right? He's in prison. So I think,
right.
I just don't see the necessity. I always say, well, Chapo's everything everyone ever heard he was. And Miles just that, and never been arrested and been the boss for a longer period of time. Right. His organization continues to be a strong organization, and, he's a smart man for sure. Just to add to that, I think today, right? Like, for us that were in it since long ago, like, even Chapo, right? It's like, you start hearing about him everywhere for the last 10 years, 15 years or whatever. Of course, people in Mexico are going to say differently, and I mean, I agree 100%, but there was big lords. A lot of people didn't know who Arturo Beltran Leyva was, and he was, right there with them.
Right.
Powerful, very powerful, drug lord, capo, and many people don't know about him. I think it's just, now that with social media and everything, I think that people are starting to understand, okay, well, who is Mayo Zambada, But, to us, who've been in the game for a long time, I mean, Mayo was always Mayo, and Chapo was always Chapo.
What type of relationship did you guys have with El Mencho? Somebody else had asked if he said anything to you after he rescued you guys from those federales.
Yeah, we continued our relationship with him, and we knew him. We knew of him through some of our associates that were close to him. But he's always been known for that, for being vicious, And I think that our relationship was kind of we didn't get to build on it because at that time he was pushing a lot of. And, it was kind of not something we were like trying to get into too much,
Right.
Well, to be honest, he was not the type of person I want to do business with. How about that? And and we would stay away from, like, I had a relationship afterwards, and, we'd meet up, talk, and, he was not the perfect businessman for sure. Yeah. And at the time, to be honest, man, he wasn't who he is right now. You're not trying to do business with the little dude. You know what I mean? Yeah. At the time, I think that even though he was more about, like, security and that type of his squad, he was not more business. We were way more business. We were way more advanced and had a better position than he did at the time,
Okay, that makes sense. He was just a super goon at the time.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, basically he went and he did what he was supposed to do, right?
That was his position. He played his position.
And exactly. And I know people are going to be like, what? Like, look, at the end of the day, we're businessmen. We're money people, There's different people, in the organization do different things. And, at the end of the day, the businessman is going to be the one that's on top no matter what. So just remember that. Yeah, it's true to say that because people, like, you try to explain the story and they have, they say their comments, but are you speaking from a thug point of view or are you speaking from a businessman? Which one are you? Because if you're just a thug, then you don't understand me and I don't understand you, And I think that's a big difference,
If you're a thug, it's not your cheese.
Yeah, it's not your, we're in two different worlds, you're just surviving, I'm living, in other words. Thank you for coming out, Primo. That's big of you that you jumped on the show.
Oh, that's what's up. That's what's up. I think I did some time with your wife Valerie.
Yeah.
Okay, I think I did some time with
Tino.
Yeah.
Well, don't tell me. Tino's a character. I'll tell you that much. Let me ask you a question. You did time. Where at?
Loretto.
Loretto. Where's that at?
Pennsylvania. Loretto, Pennsylvania.
By any chance, you didn't do no time with one of my guys named Country?
You know, with black people, there's a lot of motherfuckers named Country.
Oh, how about like Jew?
Jew, I don't know. Was he up there in Loretto?
Because I know he did a lot of time with Tino.
Okay, yeah, but Jew, I don't know.
I don't know if he was in Kentucky with him or Pennsylvania. I gotta ask.
Yeah, I wouldn't. The only place I was at was Pennsylvania.
And, you did a lot of time with him. Was it a camper or was it a low?
It was a low. It was a low.
You could have been there, like light skin. He was GD.
Nah, I ain't never fucking no games.
No, I'm saying, but he was like a GD, you know.
He may have been. He may have been, but like I said, I didn't really. My motto was this: if you spoke English real good, it wasn't nothing for me to talk about with you. So you had to speak English very poorly or didn't speak none at all. You know, so that's how I was. I really wasn't trying to kick it with motherfuckers that you just see every day, all day. If you wasn't really plugged in with some money and tapped in some type of way, it really wasn't nothing for me to talk about. And not on no arrogant shit. It's just, you know, the type of petty shit motherfuckers be on in the Fed joint. Everybody could be all type of shit and just wasting your fucking time. So
no, that's true. But it's funny though. I do want to point just so you know, you understand that we're on a live stream on YouTube. But it's funny for all those usual people that are on that you come on. The first thing you say is like, "Oh, I was with your wife." But I always say that my wife's a lot more famous than I am.
Shit, that's usually how it turns out, right?
But I will say something. My wife, she's probably more gangster than Tina was, though. That's for sure. You know,
but I could believe that some of the things that he told me. I could believe that.
You know,
but I mean, the thing that I think. Well, first of all, I seen the video that was posted up this morning, and I did like your tone. It was very diplomatic. It was impressive because it was thoughtful. I respect the fact that you did, and I think it was fair, question certain things. You know, you did state for the record that I'm not saying that you're lying, but you had your concerns. And I will be responding back to that probably within a couple of days. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So look, pretty much like I will say, like, you know, there's nothing, you know, I'm not like trying to destroy like anything that you know what you're doing or anything like that. The only reason why I did address it and I say it to everyone is that, you know, we all have different, you know, reasons why we actually do this. Like, to me, I'm on the opposite side. The reason why I don't do interviews, you know, and just say, look, I'm home in CHI-ILL. He doesn't have a large following, but it's, you know, anything that I feel like is authentic, anything I think that's gonna basically, you know, align with my beliefs, which is really that, man, you know, that life ain't everything what it seems, and you know, I'm trying to push people away from that life, right, and do better. And you know, to me, the only reason why I address it is because, you know, unknowingly.
Yo, mic check.
You know,
it's El Primo. CHI-ILL.
Not everyone has the same belief. To the culture,
El Primo.
You know, everyone sells these things about, you know, the way we basically explain or talk about the life, and you know, and all these youngsters get this, you know, false and wrong impression about what their life is. You know,
and that's why I'm doing what I'm doing. I've been out for 5 years now, and I went on Gangster Williams' show for a minute, but I've been turning down a lot of offers to come on people's show because it really wasn't about that to me. I just went over 1,000 subscribers, and my channel's not monetized because that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking to give the truth, as you just stated, about what this life entails. And there's so many rumors that you hear, and it with me bad, man. I hate to cuss on your channel, but it does. And what bothers me, and I always
feel free, Primo, feel free. We say all that shit all day long.
That's what's up. But what messes with me is when these guys over here scream all this loyalty shit. And every meeting that I had over in Mexico, whether it was in Mexicali, when I was dealing with the Tijuana cartel, and when I met my guy Danny that actually took me over to the Juarez cartel before I met Maito, or better known as Mario Nunez Mesa. No one ever said nothing to me about no fucking loyalty, because business was the objective. Business and moving that shit and moving it quick so they could make payments every quarter or whatever they needed to do depending on who controlled the plaza. And that's the only thing that was discussed.
And just so you know, I like, again, here's like my observation. All right.
Okay.
Because like again, I said, I'm only going based on your story. Like, in no way am I hating. I'm going based on your interview. You know what I'm saying? Is that maybe, you know, you just don't understand like the process of the plaza. Maybe you just understand like that role, because a lot of stuff that you stated, you know, especially when I was around, you know, like, I want to make it clear, like, this is not me trying to, like, you know, like, basically like try to up you or anything like that. Like,
no,
me and my brother were on the table. You know what I'm saying? We sat at the table. You know, the people that control Juarez, you know, kiss my ass, bro. Like you know, in the nicest way, you know. And Juarez, Mexicali, you know, the person that you were associated with was under one of my really good friends who I saved his life was Noel El Flaco Salguero. The cartel is called Gente Nueva.
He was a police officer, right?
No, he wasn't a police officer, but he worked at a Juarez, and he was a weed man. Okay, like he was a coke man, but they fall off, and he could push 100 tons of weed a month, you know, and because that was what got him money. And they're from the state of Chihuahua. Now, like Noel Salguero was, you know, comes under the Lord of the Skies, and he was, you know, from Chihuahua, and he was part of, you know, the Sinaloa cartel, more on the Chapo side, you know, and his organization was the Gente Nueva, and you know, right now his son and his people dispute Chihuahua still to this day, and that's the person that you're saying about was underneath him, and I want to tell you and explain. Sometimes, you know, for people who are not in that world, they understand the structure to be different. Like that guy that you know, Nunez, when you're Mayito, you know, from my understanding, he was a murderer. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, that he was.
You know, all that it's different from, you know, being a hustler and that type of stuff. So I'm not coming from a point where I knew your
The whole story is in the book. El Primo, the Black Hand of the Sinaloa Cartel, as well as is on Amazon.
Ranking.
The whole story is in the book. El Primo, the Black Hand of the Sinaloa Cartel, as well as is on Amazon.
Dealing with him. I'm coming from a point from, you know, some of the assumptions you made and the way the business and the way the plazas work, because the real leader of the plaza for the Juarez at that time, in most of the times, even before the war, which started in 2004, you know, just to correct you, that war started with the Juarez cartel and the Sinaloa cartel in 2004. And then it really took off like in 2006. There's a man, you know, that controlled La Línea, which was, his name was JL, under Carrillo Fuentes, okay? And the Carrillo Fuentes organization, and they're the boss, they didn't have no business dealing with the Sinaloa cartel, okay? They were at work. Chapo killed his brother. You know,
okay,
Jay,
what you're doing, you're giving me a whole lot of backstory that I was never speaking from. What I was speaking from was my experience dealing with the cartels, moving up through the ranks of the cartels. Now, the history that you're giving is the history between the different people from the war started in 2004. When I started entering the whole process with dealing with Juarez was when in 2006. When I switched over and started dealing with the Sinaloa cartel, it was not me dealing with them my own. It was me being brought over with Mayito when he joined the Sinaloa cartel, and the old man brought Mayo in. Not Mayo. The old man brought Mayito in to the Sinaloa cartel when he switched over from the Juarez cartel. There was an article released over in Mexico stating that Mayito was the one.
That's your culture. So you would know more about it than I would. I was learning on the go, which we both know was extremely dangerous for myself. As it's stated in the court documents, because we already know the government don't lie. And the government, what I'm saying, the government is narrating this story. Not me, not Karate J. It's all there. You can look it up yourself. And you can match that with the stories that I'm telling. Because I can give you the inside stories on it because I was there. Oh, I forgot one piece, which I'm going to put right here. Right here. You got the government that got an actual conversation between Chapo and Mac 10, one of the alias of Mayito, Mario Nunez Mesa, saying that he was in constant contact with the governor of Chihuahua. Wait a minute, I thought Neo Salgado or whatever the hell, Flaco, not Chief's brother Flaco, was the joker that Mayito was working up under as a lowly bootlicker or something. Ain't that what he said?
Dig into this. El Primo versus J Flores. Official Primo what? Ex cocaine Wayne, man. He going off on her, dog.
This is to say, bro, you're not gonna disrespect me. What I did, I was wrong for doing. That was, I guess I'll say this in the book, that was working with or in contact with a professional basketball player from down there that played for one of the teams down in Mexico. And this particular basketball player happened to know a guy that knew me. And there was arrangements being made for 2 tons of marijuana to come up to me from Durango, but I told the guy that I knew to not tell his man to don't mention my name. But being like stupid black folks can be, trying to be greedy, thinking I don't know it, he said my name to them people. And that's why it went from, I think, 400 to 500 pounds up to like 2 or 3 tons. But I guess Chief found out about it. But Mayo gave instructions to Chief that he did not want nothing happening to that farmer. As soon as Flaco pushed Zetas out of Durango, he went over there to the farm and deleted the old man and decided to find a better placement for his head and put it on YouTube. Old man got upset with that and decided to go to war with Flacco. This was like around the middle of February. Flacco started to whoop on the old man and started to push him out of Durango again. Now, why the hell, what's the saying? If the lion is in your house, you better put the out. But I guess the old man thought that Flacco would bow down, I guess, because that's what they didn't know the real intentions. I knew the real intentions of why Maito said to me, don't throw him under the bridge. Because Maito was working on his own connection out of Colombia for his new cartel. Yeah. But I guess I read that in the paper too, huh? But it don't stop there. This was maybe March. He went to Maito and brokered a truce with Maito, according to the paperwork that you see right there that I showed you, and I'll show it again right here. Matter of fact, I'll let this sit here while I'm talking. It shows you that Maito left the Sinaloa cartel in March. He had a conversation with the old man. Maito told Flacco to stand down. This truce came about in maybe early part of April, latter part of March, early part of April. Out of nowhere, even though I had not even been working, I get indicted under secret indictment April the 23rd, 2011. The indictment is served on me from the Western District of Texas via the federal law enforcement up here in Michigan, Detroit, Michigan. My dude, Sam, was picked up on the 23rd, not the 23rd, but the 3rd of May, going to hit the truck with some of my other guys to unload it, but it was a fake truck. There was nothing on it. They came out everywhere, my guys, my cousin and Sam, my cousin was driving, took off, led them on a high-speed chase. Up there was the city of Troy, and they led him on a high-speed chase up, what was that, 94? 75, coming, south. And then he told my cousin to pull over. They pulled over. They blocked the freeway. I jumped out on them, bust my dude in the jaw and all that. And they screaming, these guys big. You know how big? These guys are big. They're bigger than BMF. Not making this shit up. And then going back to your statement, I got to just pause for the statement. You made a statement that Johnny Mitchell likes to mention the Flores twins, respect to you guys, and likes to mention my homie Meech, and tried to place me in the middle of that or up on that level. Nigga, I don't need nobody to replace me anywhere because I'm there. I'm there. I'm that nigga, period. Full stop. Full stop. What you were is what I became. I'm on the level with you. Respect to you. But I'm on the level with you. My homie Big Meech, very popular, can take nothing from him. He was doing his thing. That's my homie. But as I stated on my man podcast, when he was talking to me, my man from Hood Politics, Black Terry, talking to me about some of the craziness that you were spewing about me. And me and him had a small little part there when we was talking about my homie and saying how he transcended drugs. Meech, and I refer to him as Big Meech as everyone else, because he is big. He transcended out of drugs. Meech became an icon, a cultural icon. That's what he is. He's a cultural icon. He is personally responsible and should be thanked by every rapper for giving these rappers style and showing them how to get down like a real Detroit nigga. And that's no disrespect to Blue Da Vinci and, his participation and them boys out of LA. You know what I'm saying? No disrespect to them as well. But that man is a cultural icon, and that can never be taken away from him. But, and that's full respect, me and you is in another rare air. We were international drug dealers. That's what we were. We dealt directly with Sinaloa cartel, with the old man, and with Chapo. Directly. Yes, me, directly. When you took a left at Albuquerque, Karate J, and started working on your style. I'm fucking with you a little bit here. That's lighthearted. But at the end of the day, bro, these are all facts. These are all facts. I presented some of my paperwork to let you guys see that. I've also presented some articles. I also presented some of Chapo's paperwork so your people can go find that, since you keep saying nothing can be found. I did the homework for your audience so they can go start to dig this up. Look up my Mario Nunez Mesa. Look that name up and click on every damn thing to come up under that, and you will see the stuff I put up here. Okay, here's the difference between me and you, Karate J. You like to say, look my name up. You'll see the transcript of it, as I stated before on the live. You're stating that as if you've done an honorable thing. No, you have not done anything honorable, because the government placed that up there because of your participation with the government. And I'm not speaking bad about your participation of the government, because what I'm about to show is going to show that you were right for actually participating with the government. But my issue with you, Karate J, is that you don't admit the truth. You telling these kids about the wrong, not dealing with this and all that, and you're absolutely correct, and you're honorable for that. You're honorable for that, and I can respect that. Even though when it comes to me, there's a hidden agenda, and I'm gonna point that out, Karate J. Why don't you tell these kids that this rumor of no snitching and all that is just a rumor? It's just hood folklore that is not real. Why you don't tell them that? Why you don't tell them that Chapo was informing and had the people under him informing, meeting with ICE and different agencies of the American government, giving money, giving information on his enemies, the Juarez cartel? Why you didn't tell them that, Jay? No, maybe you didn't know because you wasn't around. I give you that. And at the end of the day, as I've stated, and as you have stated, this is a business. These people are doing business. It may be illegal business, but they're doing business. And they're trying to fucking win by all means necessary. Whether that's...
What if recording high-quality content, editing like a pro, and streaming like a star was as simple as hitting record? With Riverside, it's just that. Riverside makes the...
How did they know you were the guy that was moving it all the way up there in Detroit? How did they know you were the real distributor?
What I found out, oh, you mean the Mario and eventually I'll say Frank. My brother, love me, he gonna hear this, but he's a, I mean, he doesn't, good heart, but he was always coming short. He wasn't paying like he was supposed to. He'd get the marijuana, it might take him a month and a half, and they start moving it quick. So I'm thinking over time what happened is, let me have to edit this out, but excuse me. What happened over time is the guy on the west side that we had to go pick up from, he told them because he got the opportunity to see me because my brother didn't have a crew.
Right.
I had to load it up in the van and drive it myself. My brother was scared to drive it. So he told them. And so they squeezed the information out of my brother. And like I said, my brother didn't want to bring me down, but they made him. Right. They wouldn't send him nothing else. So now when I come, they already have an idea because the guys there at the strip club with us. And now they got me to themselves going down to Tucson.
So they're pushing your brother out of the way because they want to deal with you directly.
And they tried to, but I would not let them. Okay. And that, I guess the term what they call it, they tried to jump you. I wouldn't let them jump him because that's my brother. And he actually set me up later. But anyway, so we eventually ended up having a conversation. And Frank came and got us the next morning to drive us back up to Tempe or wherever in Arizona to go ahead and get ready to catch a flight back. But he wanted to discuss wanting to increase. So
increase the size of the loads.
Increase the size of the loads. So there was already a load that had left. Actually, we didn't know it, but left like a day before we were supposed to leave. So he could meet us up there, so to speak. And he had us in the car on the ride back, and he's talking about the business, saying what he wanted to do. And I started to talk, just started to come to me. Okay, well, what we're going to need, if you're talking about giving us this amount, we're going to need to borrow some money from you because we're going to need to get some places to store this stuff. We need to get vehicles to move it in. And I'm noticing he's not talking. He just started listening and squinting his eyes and shaking his head. And my brother's sitting up front like, yeah, that's exactly what we planned. No. And as we got closer to Tucson, because he could throw out scenarios, I would answer back. And he told me, he said, Wayne, I really like the way you think about the business. And that pretty much set the tone. So they sent us like 2,500 pounds. Got rid of that in like 3 days.
Wow. All from to cats in Detroit.
Yeah. But again, these guys, some of these guys, and one of them became a really close friend of mine because when I got off into the cocaine, I could go borrow 400, 500,000 from this guy. You know, so he had guys in Ohio and other places that were coming up paying cash.
Huge hub. Detroit's a huge Midwest hub.
So that's coming in, and it got so to the point, Johnny, that they started sending like about 45, like 2 to 3.
Johnny Meech podcast.
And I'm moving this like
Taxes was paying the price every single year.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the El Primo podcast. Shout out to Johnny Mitchell over at the Connect podcast.
Johnny Mitchell, Connect podcast. What up, though?
Yeah, we got an interview over there that's going crazy. If you ain't even seen it yet, which it's kind of hard to say you ain't seen it yet because the numbers going crazy.
Numbers are going crazy.
If you haven't seen it, you might want to check that out. It's quite interesting to say the least.
Yeah, for sure. Check out that Patreon joint too.
Oh yeah, that was fire.
That's the truth there.
That was fire. Like that one. Like the regular interview was something you never heard before, but that Patreon interview, that was small room.
Yeah.
That was the rooms you don't get to be in, but you'll fly on the wall now.
Yeah.
Like that's that conversation.
Johnny went in with questions and he wasn't holding nothing back. So y'all make sure y'all check out his Patreon, man, because that joint deep.
Yeah. Yeah.
Especially you jokers that's all down in the comments of that joint. They got all the crazy shit to say or stuff to say like you don't believe it. Stop being cheap. Go get the Patreon and you're going to get some facts that I don't know if you're ready for.
Exactly.
See, but how can they, at first I was looking at talking shit, like they talking shit because they know, but they don't know. So how can they relate? It's hard for a motherfucker not to talk shit they can't relate. Say you can't relate. Don't say shit ain't true.
But it's the internet, so we expect motherfuckers to be like,
trolls gonna do their job.
Exactly. Sure.
Oh yeah, they do their job.
Yeah, they job to troll.
Like if you got questions, shit, come to our channel and ask them. Like we'll for sure address.
Yeah, like it was somebody on came to our channel was like, why you get on there and do all that lying? And I responded to him and like, bro, there was no lies. Johnny got the paperwork.
Yeah, like he wouldn't have let me get up there and go crazy.
And see, that's what y'all don't understand. That's what y'all don't understand about Johnny. Y'all probably think because he has a podcast, big podcast, or whatever the case may be, that he just let people come on his channel and sensationalize. Like a lot of the comments I said, no. Johnny asked me for paperwork. Johnny know the judge on my case. He know the prosecutor. He know the 3 different attorneys I had. He has all that information. He started the video out with a clip of some of my paperwork.
Yeah.
But you guys didn't pay attention to it. But also I know this, and this is no slight to my Mexican brothers and sisters. A lot of you cats in that comments, you were upset because of the truth I was telling. Because if the guys on this side really understand the value that they have over there, a lot of y'all wouldn't have jobs. Because a lot of y'all faking the funk out here acting like, you big, you the plug, and you don't even qualify as a real middleman. For real.
Damn. Right. You out here for arbitrage out this bitch.
Damn.
Why you say damn?
I didn't think about it like that.
Yeah, they don't qualify as real middlemen. They're not even close to the actual middleman. They're getting work 3rd, 4th, or 5th person, and then putting certain street guys on, and they feel like just because they're Hispanic that they the plug. No, they not. No, they're not. If you look at the whole story on Johnny's channel, when I was talking about Frank and Mario, I started talking to them crazy. Once I figured out the truth, because I fuck with them. I'm cool with them. But in the grand scheme of things, nobody.
Yeah, they needed you.
They're only somebody if you don't know nobody.
Yeah. Yeah, again, like you said, they just can't relate. That's all.
Yeah, but the whole thing about it, if you can't relate, it's cool. And there's nothing wrong with you having your opinion. And understand, we're not taking nothing personal. We appreciate the comments, the trolls, and everything. We love you all because you're watching. So that's all that matters. Shout out to you. But yeah. So but it tripped me out. Some of the folks, some of the homies from Detroit that was talking crazy, and one of the homies I said something too. But I'm like, for some reason, we feel as a people, if we don't know you or we ain't heard of you, you're nobody.
Facts.
Think about it. Who are the real people with power that you ever hear about? You got to understand who we were. We're not somebody that's celebrated and everybody knew. No. But guess what? We never experienced a drought. I bet you jokers have. You know what I'm saying? Only time a drought happened with us is when we left your town. That was the only time the drought happened. One guy came up to me going to the club. You remember this? Came up to me like, dang, man, it's about Christmas time, about to be a drought. I turned around to him and said, drought? What's that? Okay. What's that? What is a drought? When somebody talking about it's a drought, that's because you ain't got no real power. People with real power don't experience droughts. People with real power control what you pay. Yeah, I can control what you pay. I can cause, or we were able to cause droughts.
I'm just going to say that.
Yes.
Just going to say that.
We were able to cause droughts. People used to be freaking out when we left town. Didn't want us to leave, almost like they wanted to kidnap us and didn't let us go because they knew wasn't no work gonna come unless we came back.
Yep.
This is facts, people.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
And the interesting part to me is that most of our people are on there saying things that don't make no sense because you can't imagine yourself or someone that looked like you being in this position when you got somebody that's giving you game. I'm giving you game. We're giving you game, and we're telling you how this really go. We're giving you the sauce, as the young folks say. You don't know nobody that got this type of information, the level and let you know how it really goes down. You're getting what you perceive even from people that has had limited amount of success, but that's not how it goes.
And it ain't your fault.
It ain't your fault.
It ain't your fault.
It ain't your fault at all. But what I can fault you for is not, as they say, picking up what we putting down. That's the issue. You're not picking up what we putting down. You're not saying, well, okay, well, damn, the plug I got, or if you guys out there moving how you really ain't. Or if somebody coming to you because we told you, if somebody coming to you with some of them things and they got different stamps on it, that's not a plug. That's somebody that's working with a middleman that know. We explain that to you. We explain to you how you can be talking with somebody and another Spanish dude come in being real friendly, being cool with you. Next thing you know, you're working through him. What you just earned yourself as a tax being put on what you would have got for a cheaper price. But you think I'm getting cool with my man, and it ain't even like that because you don't know. But you want to come out and attack somebody that do know and trying to give you the sauce.
Yeah, but to your point of people not picking up what you put down, though, I did see a comment. There was a couple comments that stood out that some people did catch some of the jewels you dropped.
Hell yeah.
Especially that one about they was doing business and we was doing loyalty. I seen that several times in the comments.
A lot of people let that go over their head. And I did speak to that. And we talk about that all the time. Black people, we do this loyalty thing. And I say this on I don't know how many of my videos. You look at the etymology, and I'm not trying to nerd you to death. Look at the etymology of the word loyalty. The etymology of the word loyalty goes back and is associated with law. And loyalty was created by kings for their peasants. And it was created as a mode of exchange. Business. You were a peasant, so you had nothing of value that you could give the king. So what you gave the king for providing a market for you, of commerce for you, providing protection for you, and all these other things, you gave him your loyalty. And your loyalty was associated with you following his laws. That's what loyalty was for.
Are you really the last person to find out about this skip ads forever button? This is Pi, and if it sounds familiar to you, it's probably because you've seen their ads
But we
of not giving a fuck, and in this case, things have seemingly become personal because 50 gave a fuck. For those that don't remember, Big Meech's son, Lil Meech, was known for years as nothing more than his father's son. But he'd break into stardom when 50 pushed him into the direction of a lead role for a show. Based on BMF, Lil Meech would be playing his own father, and 50 would be the executive producer behind the scenes. With no experience, Lil Meech would state in an interview 50 invested in him early on, going as far as paying for his acting classes so he could secure the role in the show as his father. Becoming a success, Lil Meech would find himself in a new light and out of his father's shadow as he thrived in his acting role. With Big Meech being released, the father-son duo would finally be reunited, and everyone expected big things for the future. What nobody expected was Big Meech and Rick Ross. A welcome back legacy concert would be posted on Meech's Instagram with a long list of major artists set to perform in Broward County, Florida. It wasn't the fact that Ross was performing, it was that they took pictures and videos together. Immediately, the internet knew 50 was going to react, and he didn't disappoint. 50 would post a picture of a rat saying, "I think I'm Big Meech." Now, many were initially confused as to who he was dissing, but it seems more likely that 50 was dissing Rick Ross as he was quoting Ross's own song. And again, the caption would read, "His biggest mistake he ever made was not sustaining his relationship. Her tell-all documentary reveals the truth." Tammy Cohen's was once a business partner and close friend of Big Meech, but according to federal paperwork, became a federal informant. Ross would clap back at 50 with a post of his own.
She put Cuff in there. She already put Terry in there, Terry White.
And of course, he promoted his car show, which is believed to be the reason he linked with Meech in the first place. See, Ross isn't dumb. Meech being in prison for the last 17 years is a decent excuse, while Ross knew exactly what he was doing. Ross wanted to link with Meech, knowing the controversy would start up, so he could then promote his upcoming car show. But the effect in doing so would leave Meech in a worse position than what he came home to. 50 would start dropping bombs, even posting texts from Lil Meech that read, "They just told me you unfollowed me off Instagram, and now you're managing Skilla Baby with Rocket when I brought him around you first when you didn't have a clue who he was. Now you're mad at me when I would take the shirt off my back for you. I can't believe this, man. You act as if I'm your enemy. I've only showed you love and loyalty. I'm human. I go through my own shit, but I never switched up on you. Fuck Ross. But he gave my dad some bread so he could afford to pay his bills until our next season starts. This internet shit is throwing me off, man. You know me in real life." 50 would reply with, "What next season?" 50 would make it clear that Big Meech's choice wouldn't affect just him, but also his son and the existence of the BMF show. After all, how could 50 continue a show based on a rat? While the Black Mafia family was pushing kilos of cocaine, BMF Entertainment was a music business used as a front to launder money. The label would promote several hip-hop artists, but Blue Da Vinci would be the only artist actually signed to BMF. Roughly 150 BMF members would be indicted, but Blue would be free for more than a year before finding himself taken down by the feds. The BMF rapper was accused of doing nothing more than loading and unloading cocaine from vehicles and counting money from stash houses in Atlanta. Blue would eventually be sentenced to 5 years and 4 months, and federal BMF members would accuse him of having snitched in the case. One of those men would be none other than Dexter Sosa Hussey. Having served 12 years for trafficking and money laundering, Sosa was the head of logistics for BMF as he took on the responsibility of managing loads of 150 kilos at a time and transporting them across the country. Source directly
Tony told ain't no paperwork on her either.
From the cartel, Sosa would study maps, routes, and familiarize himself with the areas in which he trafficked. He'd even go as far as learning which times of day police were most active, giving him a window to take advantage of through different time zones across the country. A calculated operator, Sosa would take the Vlad TV, speaking on Blue Da Vinci.
Well, did Blue Da Vinci cooperate or no?
Yeah, he cooperated. I mean, I didn't say it. It was in Miss Mara Shalhoub's book, where his own lawyer said, yeah, if there was anything else that we could do, Your Honor, to help you along with this case, my client would be more than willing to cooperate with you all to help you in this investigation. But now the thing of it is by you admitting what you know what I'm saying, what you done or whatever. But bottom line is, you didn't take the single plea. You went in and was giving them information on shit that they already had and thought it was cool, but you still, that was part of that. You just confirmed other shit that the other CIs just told. Plus you did
You mastered your mind.
What you gonna say, nigga? Please, I mean, he did admit to what he did. What he had, you know what I'm saying? But somebody else, I mean, he did plead what he did. He can't fault him. I mean, I don't know who fought him for that. But I guess he collaborated with the CI. Said, I don't know.
Whole fucking play. They never knew nothing about it. That smack video was detrimental in finding out who each person was.
What Sosa was referring to will be written out in Blue Da Vinci's sentencing transcripts. Blue was being called up in court, and as he made his way to the podium, his lawyer stated to the judge, as he's coming up, Your Honor, I did leave one thing out. You had asked some of the other defendants whether or not they cooperated. Mr. McKnight, aka Blue Da Vinci, was one of the individuals who did attempt to cooperate. He was debriefed by the government, but basically he didn't know anything that was useful against the remaining defendants. So Blue Da Vinci's lawyer would essentially be the one to expose Blue did attempt to cooperate and was debriefed by the feds. Blue would then tearfully give a statement in court before being sentenced to 5 years and 4 months. But did he actually snitch? It's clear as day that he attempted to, but none of the information he provided was of any use or could be used against anyone. Sosa would accuse Blue of confirming things other informants had already stated, so while he technically wasn't making things worse, he definitely wasn't making them better, and he only did so to secure a lesser sentence. At one point, Big Meech would accuse Blue of snitching, but according to Blue, Meech would apologize after. And in the end, Blue would get the final laugh as his name remains stained, but it would be Blue that dropped the paperwork on Big Meech. Blue would do an interview with Cam Capone back in 2023 providing the paperwork exposing Tammy Combs. Tammy was Big Meech's assistant. With Meech already taken down by the feds, Tammy would seemingly prove her loyalty by remaining in contact with Meech through calls and letters. With years in prison ahead of him, Meech would make a risky business move by signing over his life rights to Tammy. This now meant Tammy owned the life story of Big Meech and could turn it into millions. But this wasn't the only business move Meech made. While in jail, Meech met a cartel member by the name of Fidel Suarez. Suarez owned and operated a trucking company in California and had been investigated/arrested without conviction for drug trafficking in 2005 and 2009. Meech would use Tammy to connect Suarez with a lifelong friend named Dion Gatling, who's more commonly known as the St. Louis drug lord Cuffy. Tammy would bridge the gap for further drug distribution, but what Cuffy and Suarez didn't know was she was a confidential informant and was reporting everything to the feds. CS1, or confidential source number 1, has been identified as Tammy Combs. Paperwork would state she first became a confidential informant for the Atlanta DEA back in 2009, where she provided information in a money laundering case that resulted in the successful prosecution and conviction of another Atlanta kingpin legend named Terry White.
It's believed that Terry White grew up in an Atlanta housing project, but when FBI and GBI agents arrested him last night, he was living here, a sprawling $200,000 mansion in Jonesboro. The 27-year-old was in the process of renovating his home, which features an outdoor swimming pool, a full-length basketball court, and more.
Had a media room where there were 24 TV sets on one wall hooked to a satellite dish. And you could hit a button and all 24 TVs would come on.
Agents seized the home and 3 cars which belonged to White, including this $110,000 Rolls Royce, which was paid for in cash. But there was more to be found inside, $47,000 cash and a machine to count the money, thousands in gold jewelry and mink coats, a small catch of ammunition and weapons, including a loaded Uzi semi-automatic pistol.
The feds would note Tammy Combs was an unusual informant, as she had no criminal record, was not a known drug user, did not appear motivated by money, and was not looking to get a reduced prison sentence or charges dismissed. Instead, she appeared motivated by revenge, as Terry White had her unknowingly laundering money for him. Tammy Combs was not initially a paid informant, but an agent would put her in for an award that would be a percentage of the property seized in the case. Tammy would receive a total of $55,000 for putting away Terry White. When Tammy Combs became a confidential informant, she'd already been a longtime friend and associate of Big Meech. Specifically, she held the life rights of Big Meech, and in 2011, Meech requested her help in coordinating a delivery of cocaine through Suarez. Meech told Tammy he met Suarez while inside of a county jail in Michigan, and as time went on, Meech would ask her to connect Suarez with Cuffy. So she'd reported to the feds that Meech had her coordinate a cocaine delivery in 2011 while Meech was in prison. But for some reason, Meech would never face an indictment for her allegations. At a later evidentiary hearing, Tammy would deny that Meech had any involvement with drug trafficking activities between Suarez and Cuffy. She'd also deny Meech directed her to connect them. And now, the feds were starting to believe Tammy Cohen's was no longer a credible informant. That, and the fact that it was discovered she was sleeping with the federal agent assigned to her. So what would make her start covering up for Meech? Wiretaps would reveal Cuffy's alleged involvement in the murders of 2 individuals cooperating with law enforcement, and along with Tammy providing information on him drug trafficking, Cuffy would be indicted in 2014. Cuffy's legal team would file motions that would leave Tammy Cohen's panicking. At this time, nobody knew she was an informant, and Tammy saw information within Cuffy's motion that she believed would allow people close to the case to identify her. The DEA agent controlling her would testify in court that she expressed concern over the motions and that she panicked and took several measures to try to protect herself. Apparently, Tammy drove several hours to Louisiana in an attempt to visit Big Meech in federal prison to explain her position and try to deflect any accusations. So essentially, she was seeking Meech's advice on how to handle being exposed as a confidential informant. It's believed she wasn't able to visit him, but when she did speak with him, Big Meech told Tammy he didn't want his name caught up in this mess. Nothing is said about Meech being shocked, surprised, or angry. And finding out his assistant, who he trusted with his life rights, was now working with the feds. He just didn't want his name being brought up, showing that he knew. To further protect herself and Meech, Tammy would state the wiretaps contained false information. She was now saying that Meech never connected Suarez to Cuffy, and that the DEA agent Tammy was having sex with was jealous of her relationship with Meech and was trying to frame him. The feds would quickly realize Tammy was no longer credible, and due to the fear of being exposed, she was now attempting to distance Big Meech from Suarez and Cuffy. In 2019, at the age of 53, Cuffy would be sentenced to 27 years in prison for drug trafficking and use of firearms in furtherance of drug trafficking, resulting in death. Fast forward to 2024, Camp Capone would have Blue Da Vinci back on, but this time, Blue had none other than Cuffy on the line so he could speak out for himself from prison.
I'm in here with a 27-year sentence based on Demetrius Flannery, as you all know is Big Meech, and Tammy Collins, known in the paperwork as CS1. So what Big Meech did was call a third-party cooperation. So Tammy Collins signed up to be a DEA informant to give Demetrius Flannery a time cut, plain and simple.
Cuffy would start off strong saying he's doing 27 years because of Meech, and claim Meech did what's called a third-party cooperation. Cuffy would claim Tammy Cohen's, who was already a DEA informant, cooperated against him for Big Meech's benefit. This would be backed by the paperwork that stated back in 2011, Tammy was tasked with targeting Hispanics involved in drug trafficking. She'd be spared from having to testify as they'd be sent back to Mexico. When asked if she'd get something big, the DEA agent would interrupt her saying, "You'll get a lot of money." But instead, she asked to get Big Meech a time cut, to which the DEA agent said we can.
They always say, don't quit your 9 to 5. Then you find a tool like Planoly that helps you plan and post content so you can say, I made my 5 to 9 my 9 to 5 instead.
Turn that commercial.
We're very involved with all of our communities and all of our branches. Yeah. That's the heart of who we are.
I don't think I can turn them on.
Can work on it. Cuffy discovered this through a Frank's hearing in which his legal team was able to cross-examine his accusers, including government agents and informants. Tammy would be present to testify, and these transcripts are of what she said. Fidel Suarez was Hispanic, clearly pushing drugs through his trucking operation. Cuffy wanted drugs. Meech connected them through Tammy, and Tammy sat back and watched it all unfold. But Meech would never receive the time cut because it was discovered Tammy was having sex with the DEA agent responsible for her. So in the end, Tammy's cooperation did not benefit Meech, but because of it, Cuffy's phone was wiretapped, and he was taken down as a result of them finding evidence and sentenced to 27 years. Now this is
free Cuff,
where you as a viewer have to decide as to what you believe. Tammy received the right to Big Meech after he was taken down by the feds. Tammy then became a DEA informant, which even the feds questioned as she didn't want or need money, wasn't a drug addict, and wasn't facing criminal charges. So what was her motive? Tammy was told she'd be targeting Hispanics and asked in return for her cooperation that Big Meech would receive a lesser sentence. She was cooperating, being paid to do so, but also doing so for Meech to benefit. When accidentally exposed as an informant through court filings mentioning her name, she panicked, running to Meech, who was in prison. Meech told her he wanted his name to stay out of it, and at that time, she recanted all statements regarding Meech, saying he had nothing to do with bringing Suarez and Cuffy together. Tammy was then exposed for having sex with a DEA agent, ruining any chances of helping Meech. And Cuffy goes down because of the wiretap brought on by Tammy. So why wouldn't Cuffy believe Meech was behind it? Tammy didn't make a move Meech didn't tell her to make. She was his assistant and trusted enough that he signed over his life rights. She only began cooperating after Meech was taken down and continued to visit him for years in prison. They remained in contact long after she informed him she was exposed as an informant, and she even went on to become a co-producer for BMF, the TV series, along with executive producer 50 Cent. The show would premiere in 2021, 2 years after Cuffy was sentenced. 50, being a chess master, was now trolling Big Meech with the promise of a Tammy Cohen's documentary coming soon. Turns out, 50 would buy Big Meech's life rights from Tammy. So now 50 is in control with the power to essentially end the BMF series and expose Big Meech through the help of his former associate, Tammy Cohen's. Big Meech's Welcome Back concert would be canceled just before it started. Lil Meech would already be doing Instagram promos as his acting career just ended, and strings were seemingly being pulled as all of the aura that Big Meech once had was being swept away by 50 Cent. And let's be clear, only someone as influential as 50 Cent had the power to pull this off, as many had spoke on Big Meech's paperwork in the past, but it took a megastar to solidify it and spread it to the masses. 50 would continue to troll Meech, posting a GoFundMe stating Meech needs help paying his bills, and Lil Meech would post a picture to Instagram with Floyd Mayweather and Rick Ross saying real power. Of course, those comments would be turned off. Lil Meech made millions off the BMF series with 50 Cent to thank, and it's alleged that he spent it all trying to maintain a rapper's image, and now him and his father are both struggling while 50 is ready to Why Meech would turn to Ross is unknown, but 50 is making him stand on it. And it's also unknown, but alleged, that Meech and Tammy had a fallout which placed her right into the hands of 50 Cent. In the end, there has yet to be a paper unsealed showing Big Meech 100% cooperated, but as some have said, he came home 15 years too early. It would seem only Tammy Cohen's has the power to truly solidify Big Meech's legacy or destroy it completely, and that is 50 Cent's final bullet. Now, a lot of research went into this video. We're dealing with a very big name, and at the same time, I wanted to let everything play out, so please excuse my absence in this situation. But I mean, 50 just made it a series. This wasn't even one show that just took place in a day. This shit's been going on for a while. The content just seemed to keep coming. At the end of the day, from what I've seen, from legal paperwork, Meech allegedly was still involved in the game in the feds and was never charged with anything. Meech allegedly knew that Tammy Cohen's was a DEA informant because she went to him and told him. Meech responded, "Keep my name out of it." He didn't want anyone to know. Cuffy is serving 27 years because of an investigation caused by Tammy. Tammy was cooperating to get Meech a time cut. I highly doubt Tammy needed the money. She's connected to BMF. But Tammy specifically stated she wanted to get him a time cut. She was cooperating so Big Meech could get a time cut. She was seduced by an ATF agent and blew the whole fucking operation. So because she essentially fucked up, she then went to 50 Cent. Now 50 is going to pay her more money than the DEA. Big Meech is fucked. And the entire BMF series seems to be over with. Do I think Big Meech snitched? I'm not sure, honestly. Do I think he knew about what Tammy was doing? The paperwork says yes. And that right there is enough, right? Because you know this girl is snitching and doing it so you benefit. So Cuffy saying that Meech did a third-party cooperation doesn't sound far-fetched because the paperwork clearly states she was cooperating for Meech to get out. But let me know y'all's thoughts and comments in the comment section. It's 1090 Jake. I'm rocking with y'all. Y'all rocking with me. Until next time.
You know he knew. Goddamn real. Goddamn real. Shit, my bad. I'm tripping.
Design your own custom t-shirt with Sticker Mule.
What is power? Maybe the better question is, how much of it can you handle? In the GMC Sierra EV Denali, we are professional grade.
What
2025 has had everyone at the edge of their seats. Shocked would be the word best to describe seeing former drug trafficker / street legend Big Meech next to former corrections officer / rapper Rick Ross. Ross would always give the facade that he was some drug lord from Miami, even going as far as naming himself after a drug lord from Los Angeles. Ross would mention Big Meech on his 2010 album Teflon Don, the very nickname of none other than John Gotti. Within the song BMF, Ross would rap, "I think I'm Big Meech, Larry Hoover." Ross would be boldly comparing himself to Meech, who we all know ran BMF, the Black Mafia family, a drug trafficking money laundering organization founded in 1985 in Southwest Detroit.
Luca, revenge, a dish best served ice cold. He was ready to go in Monaco. All the protagonists in this drama were there. Nico Harrison wasn't hiding. There's Luca and Kyrie before the game. Anthony Davis gets a nice ovation. And then early, you can see the emotion maybe getting the better of Luca here. Doesn't get the call and gets the tee.
Yeah, I fired up, obviously. He's a guy that in his previous organization did not hide his emotions. Tonight, add +2 to those emotions at least.
Yeah, so again, there's the technical for him early. Later in the quarter, Lakers have the early lead. And what we're going to see here, the Lakers with a miss. They're going to kick it out. I want you to watch the reaction from Luca after this goes in. Yes. Look at him here. Look at him looking right at the bench. We know where that's aimed. Daggers and more from Doncic. Second quarter. Luka putting on a show. Monica, the pass.
I mean, the passing is fantastic. And as this game progressed, you are just reminded about how powerful Luka and LeBron as a combo can be. But literally, eyes behind his head. And this, honestly, Grady, was not one of Luka's better performances in terms of efficiency, but still, he can have a great impact on the ball game.
Look at that pass underneath of Vanderbilt. Again, taking another look. You see just a pure no-look. Lakers, an 8-point halftime lead. But this was a game. Fourth quarter. Mavs depleted, but they were fighting. They were in there. P.J. Washington, no. How about this pass here to LeBron?
Yeah, this was one of the ones where I was like, man, the father time continues to be reversed when it comes to LeBron James.
LeBron had 16 points in the fourth quarter of this game, and the Lakers would need them all because Klay Thompson's going to knock this down, and we're tied at 88. Dallas right in there, but the ensuing possession for the Lakers, again, it was LeBron.
But again, a lot of these are LeBron connections with Luka. If it's not the primary assist, it's the secondary assist, or the hockey assist, as we call it. And this is why they brought the two of these guys together. I mean, LeBron being able to play off the ball, run the floor hard, cut hard, and trust that Luka is going to find him, man.
Triple-double for Luka, 19 points, 15 rebounds, 12 assists. LeBron there to clean that one up. He finished with 27 and 12, and in the end, it is the Lakers who come away with a win. And after, Luka, emotional.
Weird game, different game. But I can't even explain what kind of emotions were. You know, seeing the guys out there, seeing the guys I played. The closure is going to take a while, I think. You know, just it's not ideal. I'm glad this game is over. You know, there's a lot of emotions. But we go little by little, you know, and every day is better.
When you move on or they move on from you, it was very emotional, obviously. It's very taxing. And, you know, it's probably a lot of things that was going on in his head that probably didn't even involve the game itself. You know, so, and with that said, I thought he handled it tremendously.
All right, Jay, Will, and Wendy are up with us early. Wendy, you were there last night. Did you think he handled it tremendously?
It was fine. I think it was emotional for him. I think a very memorable moment for me was Nico Harrison standing in an electric blue suit, very, very visible at the scorer's table an hour before the game when Luka came out there. Both men basically there 20, 30 feet from each other. If somebody wanted to take a step to address the other one, they could have. That didn't happen. I certainly will remember that. That's not something you normally see pregame at a normal February event. But within the game, the Jason Kidd and the Mavericks decided Luka was not going to score 40 on them last night. They double teamed him aggressively. Luka had a good start to the game, but then basically had to make the right basketball play. He had the 12 assists because they were forcing the ball out of his hands. He was a little tired at the end of the game. At one point in the second half, JJ Redick had to call timeout to give him some rest. At the end of the game, he was bent over and just pulling on his shorts, but that was okay because LeBron had a lot of energy left because he doesn't have to handle the ball as much anymore. You can definitely see the difference. LeBron with a bunch of energy in the fourth quarter to get it done. Not a game I think is going to be super memorable. The game in April when he goes back to Dallas, I think could be a different story.
Jay, Will, your thoughts?
You know, there's two ways to address this, Bernie, on the court and then the drama off the court. So let's start with the latter. And I think, you know, the biggest thing for me is that line in business that you hear all the time where it's not personal, it's business. This one was personal. And you can feel that personal issue that Wendy just talked about with Nico Harrison on the sideline before the game, watching the two not address each other, that awkwardness. And when Luka made that three, there was a part of me, of course, that thought he was staring at the bench. There was also a big part of me that, you know, as somebody who's spiteful, and I call myself Petty LaBelle sometimes, and seeing how LeBron and Luka are that way too. Like it almost felt like Luka was searching for Nico Harrison. He was searching for management. And that's where the drainage. To me, this one feels like all the main characters were on the court, not playing because obviously AD and Daniel Gafford and the rest of the team need to be available for Dallas. But seeing Luka there, seeing Nico Harrison there, seeing LeBron James being on the court, seeing Jason Kidd, that really didn't have anything to do with it. When I hear LeBron talk about they, it didn't feel it was like they moving on from Luka. It felt like only a select few in that Dallas Mavericks organization decided they move on from Luka, and that was the personality that I felt on the court.
So the off the court stuff obviously takes center stage in this conversation and last night. How about on the court? What did you see last night, Monica, as far as the game is concerned? Because one way or another, this game now has come and gone. As Wendy mentioned, they'll be in Dallas in April, and that'll get a lot of hype and all the rest of that, and we'll see what Luka does there. But at the end of the day, these teams are moving forward. The Mavericks have to get healthy. What did you see from the Lakers last night?
I continue to really enjoy the combination of LeBron James and Luka Doncic together. And Wendy mentioned it, in the fourth quarter, you're looking like, oh, LeBron is -5 years lately in this fourth quarter, but it's because he's not on the ball. The other thing to me that I'm a little bit curious about is this small ball defense that the Lakers are going to have to go to. Obviously, we all sort of we all enjoyed and noted the way they were able to perform against the Nuggets last night. This one, not as much, obviously a depleted roster in terms of the Mavs dealing with injuries, but you really do like what Jared Vanderbilt brings. You like what Dorian Finney-Smith. When you look at it, Luka, Hachimura, and Finney-Smith, those guys together present one of their best trios so far since this trade, and that's in terms of their on and off numbers.
Check this out. It's what the streets want to know.
Hell yeah.
That real, that raw.
The drug's so powerful, it will make you sell the clothes off your back.
It's straight drop, baby.
Yeah, baby.
From the people you want to hear it from. It's time to let the dog off the leash.
Run, Chico.
It's Unleashed, Reloaded.
Mic check, 1 2, mic check, 1 2, 1 2. My name is Dogface Calderon. This is Dogface TV, live on everything. When I say everything, I'm live on everything. I'm on YouTube, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook. Everything. I'm on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, I'm live for you. I'm at your mama house. I'm live on everything. My next guest, she is one of the most sought after interviews in the country right now. Her name is Kalitha Bush, excuse me. She's a very articulate, well-spoken, well-rounded, informative young woman. She has a wealth of knowledge about things that you wouldn't think she knows anything about. One of the reasons why she is, I'm going to say, in the whole land, in the land of urban street shit, in the land of gangster shit, in the land of the culture, of black culture, this young woman is one of the most sought after interviews. Everybody's calling her. Everybody wants to talk, especially now that we have a situation going on with Tammy Collins, Demetrius Flannery, aka Big Meech, and Deion Cuffy Gatlin. That is the hottest subject of the land, in part because of what's going on between 50 Cent and Big Meech, and then Rick Ross, and then you throw Lil Meech into the pot as well, and you shake it all up, and you come out with a lot of shit. Ms. Bush has a perspective that you can only get from being there, being a part of it. She has an understanding that comes from living it, not just talking about it, not just hearing about it. One of the hottest subjects in the land now is third-party cooperation, because in the world of, on the federal criminal justice landscape, we know about a 5K1. That is when you offer, if you catch a Fed case, and when you offer the government some assistance leading to some an arrest or a conviction or some actionable information, prior to getting sentenced, that cooperation is called a 5K1. Post-conviction, if you turn around and you give a motherfucker some juicy shit about trying to get a motherfucker booked, right? When you cooperate after post-sentencing, they call that a Rule 35B. So prior to getting convicted, it's a 5K1. After you get convicted, they give you another opportunity to tell on some shit. That's called a Rule 35B. We know very little about what third-party cooperation is. Some people said there's no such thing as third-party cooperation. The feds don't play games like that. The federal government don't do no off-the-record, clandestine snitch agreement type shit. The feds don't do that. Dogface, you are lying to the people. They don't do no shit like that. It's got to be by the book. It's got to be on the law. If it's not on the federal, if it's not on, no, you can't do that. You're lying, dog. Miss Kalitha Bush has something to say about all of that. Welcome to the show, Miss Bush.
Thank you.
Now, Miss Bush, you got a tan. Where I'm from, it's cold as a motherfucker. Why you got a tan right now?
It's Texas. We don't get that much. We don't get that much cold weather like y'all get probably where you're at up in the Midwest. It's basically warm year round out here. So I've been enjoying the little cold fronts that we've been having coming in and out for the last 2 weeks, but that's about to end. So.
You know you just brag, don't you? You know we don't play it. We in Detroit right now. You just brag and just talk about how warm and how nice. We don't play no shit like that. Miss Bush, welcome to the YouTube Streets. The YouTube Streets is a collection of YouTubers who all come together for the purpose of commentating on, pontificating about all the things that affect black people as a whole across the country, right? So I want to welcome you on behalf of the entire YouTube Streets block. We have a couple of members who are missing, but this information will be disseminated to them as well. Can you tell? So first of all, one of the hottest subjects in land is third-party cooperation. And we have people from different walks of life and from different, who have different experiences with the criminal justice system. You have some people who have said that there's no such thing as third-party cooperation. What say you about people who say there's no such thing about that as that?
Well, I tell you that, I would basically tell them that they need to look a little farther to the people who've actually been through it and experienced it, because I ended up in federal prison because I helped my ex run a third-party cooperation firm here in Texas. and I ended up with an almost 10-year prison sentence because of that. And it's something that's very lucrative. It's something that, I mean, I've had interviews where somebody asked me, well, how many calls were you getting a day? And I can basically tell you at least 200 phone calls every day from facilities around the United States. Some people names that I don't even want to discuss that are like so high up the chain when it comes to being drug lords and people like that want to get out of prison, and they're willing to spend however much amount of money necessary to become free again. So it is absolutely something that happens. The government does it in many different ways. Somebody said, well, why, when somebody does it, their name is going to be in the paperwork? Not necessarily, and not all the time. I guess it's up to the United States government's discretion of how they're going to put that information out there, or if they're going to put that information out there at all. Because my ex, as I spoke to you about this before we started recording, was an informant for the United States government for some time. And he ended up using the information that he got from being an informant to launch this third-party cooperation firm, which landed him a 20-year prison sentence, and me caught in the middle of it, a nearly 10-year sentence as well.
Can you tell us, you guys started a third-party cooperation company?
Well, he actually had it before I knew anything about it.
Right.
And pulled me in the middle of it.
Okay.
And so being pulled in the middle of it, at first it was just, I need you to answer these phone calls, take the messages, and relay messages. But then as a few years passed, I was actually going out there, actually meeting with people's families who were incarcerated, who wanted to use the service in order to get them Rule 35B motion filed through the court so that they can get their sentence reduced for cooperating with the government. But it wasn't just any kind of give information situation. We actually had informants working for us. Like, he had a lot of friends that he had gotten signed up as informants, and he had some friends that were already informants who knew of other informants who could do the work.
So I want you to know that this story is a chilling story. And if you see a look of incredulousness on my face, it is not because I'm not understanding what you're saying. It is because it's scary.
It is.
When you, as you tell this story, you haven't even gotten to the heart and the meat and potatoes of it. But as you tell this story, it ain't safe outside. That's the only thing I'm thinking.
But no, because the same firm that he launched, there was a way that we ended up being caught up with the United States government because somebody that was very close to him had gotten in some trouble, and the Fed ended up investigating him. And this person walked from this whole situation. It was the closest person to him.
So, Ms. Bush, can you explain to us how third-party cooperation works? So is it that you guys found informants to jump on people's cases? Or, so I heard you say, hey, well, people who are incarcerated, they're looking for a way to get out. So is it that, man, can you just tell
So technically, in the rule book of doing third-party cooperation, the government normally will not work with you if it's not somebody that is a informant. And from my understanding, I've never been an informant, but I've talked to multiple informants. I've talked to United States attorneys, and I've talked to attorneys on behalf of clients that we had. And so informants don't go by names. They have numbers from what they told me. The government pull their files by the numbers that they've done work in different states or whatever, and they want to go to another state and do work. They're going to pull this informant's file by number and see if they're credible to do the work in that jurisdiction. If for any reason they're blackballed, which happened to one of our informants, where the government says, no, we're not working with you anymore, we're not doing anything with you, then no, they'll say no. Well, basically, the rule is the person is supposed to be related to you. The government wants the person to be related to you when you're going to do when there's work that's supposed to be done on your behalf. And so in a lot of cases, if the person is not related to you, it has to be an informant. Somebody that's already known, somebody that has done this type of work before.
That's wild.
No, I don't want to be unprofessional, but god damn. So you guys had a company where you were brokers of rats and snitches, and y'all used the rats and snitches to help people who were solid up until. So I'm in prison. I'm doing 25 years. I got money in the street. I'm trying to get some time cuts to get myself home faster. I could have hired your firm to get somebody to give me information so I can turn the information over to the federal government.
And a lot of times, this is what happened. I've spoken to, like I said, United States attorneys and attorneys before. And sometimes the United States, the person has tried to cooperate before, but was denied because it is somebody that the government wants, and they don't want to give information on this particular person. And they'll sit in prison for some years, and that person is still on the streets, and then they might decide one day that I'm ready to do the work. I mean, I'm ready to give up that information, because there was this case where there was a big-time drug lord in another state, and the person that we were hired to do the work on behalf, the attorney said, well, I've tried everything, and they're not budging. But when I spoke to the United States attorney, and they said, well, tell him the only way that we will allow for you to send informants down here to do work on his behalf is if he gives us the name that he knows that we want and the information. And at this time, this person had been incarcerated for like 10 years. They was more than willing to give up that information. They gave me a name. I contacted the United States attorney back. They said, that's what we want. That's who we want. Yes, send your people up here. And so that's how it works for a lot of people. They'll sit in prison for some time and not want to tell on a friend. But then after some time, they'll feel like, okay, well, I'm going to tell on a friend now.
So informants was just sitting around waiting on y'all call, just waiting on the mission.
Oh, they actually out doing work all the time. Like
gathering intel.
Out doing work. As soon as they have a chance where they can make themselves available to do work, then they're more than happy to do the work.
Hey, Ms. Bush, did you hear what you just said?
I'm telling you, like, I didn't believe
they don't stop working.
I was like the third. I was like the person that was communicating with these people, like talking to them, and they're telling me these things. I'm having conversations with them, and I was shocked too at first. I was like, wow. And it's a lot of females that do this type of work because it's easier for females to infiltrate a lot of organizations, especially when it's drug organizations.
I had all kind of shit to ask you before we started this shit, but I don't motherfucker. So at the height of the firm that he was your husband, right?
Yes.
Okay. So how many informants did you guys have on the rolls?
So he had 5 of his friends signed up as informants, and then it was 2 females that he met through a friend that was an informant. And these girls were like butter to the United States government ears once they pulled their names. Like they wanted these girls coming to do work. And they told me personally themselves that they worked all around the United States. And I ended up being able to communicate with their boss, who was a DEA agent. And so I know in our case, when I was questioned about all this stuff, and I'm basically telling them this, it was just so odd to me. I was like, in a government now place, just so dumb. All of a sudden, when they have somebody that they actually really want, they don't care what you're saying. They'll listen, but they basically do not care. If you're not willing to give us some more information, then we don't care what you're saying.
So I want to ask you some questions about just the operational side of this business.
Okay.
So you guys provided people who were willing to, were you just, the people who you guys employed so did y'all have a treasure trove or a treasure chest of information ready to be used that anybody could have used to help their case?
So let's say
it was customized to the person.
So yeah, so the way they had, either they had information and it was people giving up murders and things that you wouldn't even think they would be giving up. They was giving up whatever they wanted out. And so even though you give out this information, people don't understand that the government still has the right to say, no, we weren't able to prove that, or the information wasn't valid, or something in it. You did something that you wasn't supposed to do. So because of that, no, we're not accepting it at this point. It's like all kind of little things that they do, the United States government, when it comes to third-party cooperation. And so, like I told you, I would be in contact with attorneys. I've talked to multiple United States attorneys, and I've talked to DEA agents in the course of doing this work that I was doing with my ex. And so a lot of times the person themselves who are incarcerated have the information and they want to give it. And sometimes you might get people who don't have the information. And that's where you would need like these informants to be able to go and do work with the United States government on whatever cases they may have. But I will basically tell you that nobody is safe. I mean, from just the years that I was involved in it, I could not believe it. I could not believe that people who were top of the tier drug lords were sitting in prisons across this United States. No matter the United States took them from another country and brought them here or whatever, they wanted out, and they were willing to set up minions and whoever to get out. They might not want to give you like the biggest names, but they want to. It was like a lot that went into it.
So did you have it? Did you guys work for any cartel members?
I wouldn't say cartel members, but people on the other side, it possibly could have been connected, but people on the other side that from not the Mexico side, but from across the waters.
Right.
People from across the waters, Colombians, Cubans, people like that actually really own some shit that the government took and seized and brought them here because they were sending their product into the United States. And so people want out. Like, I mean, I don't care how small you are, how big you are. There are people. It was a whole facility at one time calling, and I couldn't believe it. I was like, nobody has any shame in their game anymore. They'll call and say such and such and such gonna be calling, their family's gonna be calling. Literally like 20, 30 people all in one dorm, all making phone calls at the same time like it was nothing.
So what facility was that?
The whole car.
Hey, look, this was in Florida. So Florida, I mean, there's a lot of people in Florida that's trying to tell on people like I've never seen before. But I mean, Texas is not excluded, but Florida was like one of those states where you're like, wow, like nobody even cares.
I'm never at a loss of words, ever. I want you to know I'm never at a loss of words. You telling me it was a whole facility.
Yeah, like every single person almost is trying to get out of there. So I don't know if the facility was just
Yo,
in there,
never
or
even
was just
quiet.
there anymore. They said, help this, I want to go home, or what it may be, but everybody has some type of information that they can dig up or remember on somebody at some point that they're trying to tell, and people are sitting around here living their lives and don't even know that somebody's trying to write affidavits on them. So I tell people right now, I don't care if you're doing something that you're not supposed to be doing and you're doing it with somebody, just be careful, because if you go down and you don't know how, it could have been your friend. Your friend could have got in some trouble and turned you in, and you see them still walking, but then they come to take you away. It happens all the time.
These niggas hold possums.
No, listen, right? I'm never at a loss for words, right? But see, what you are telling me, what you are exposing in this interview, you're exposing the underbelly of what's really going on in the streets. So, what you should be teaching classes in the inner city to young black men and women, because the information.
I have to get caught up, because I've had people reach out to me and basically tell me, I've listened to your whole story, part 1 to 100 on my series, and they said I walked away from a relationship because I was not ready for what happened in your situation to be my situation. And I was like, yeah, sometimes you can listen to somebody else's story, and that could be just that push you need to make you come outside the door, because I was incarcerated with a lot of people from different walks of life. And there was a lot of females sitting in prison doing long prison stints because of a man. And some of these women were in prison, and this man was out there walking around living his life with the next female because he put the drugs on her, one scenario, or he told her to take that case, the other scenario. So, I mean, basically, either way it goes, you're not safe. There are men that want to do the crime but don't want to do the time, period.
Oh, it's a bunch of bitch ass niggas. Ain't no bitch ass nigga like a bitch ass nigga. Ain't no bitch ass nigga like a bitch ass nigga. We know that.
I wish I could have learned, early on in my life, but I didn't. It took me a long time to learn that lesson.
Ms. Bush, how did you meet your husband initially?
So I talked about it in my series, but I'll go ahead and tell you. So I was friends with one of his relatives through my mom. They used to gamble together. And I was on my way to one of my cousin's house one day, which was down the street from where I lived at. And I stopped to his relative house, who was out in the front yard, and we were just talking for a few minutes. And then he just came out the house and started talking to me, asking me for my information, asked me for my phone number. And I was like, well, I just got a home phone. This was way back in 1996. I was 16 years old. And so he was young, fly, to my eye. I was a more sheltered girl, grew up not exposed to this type of stuff. And so I was at all with him. And so everything just pretty much went from there. I didn't know that he was a drug dealer. He told me after we were seeing each other for a while, hey, this is what I do for a living. He showed me a whole bunch of drugs one day, and he told me drugs are bad for you. Don't ever let anybody offer that to you. And that was that. And pretty much some time passed, I was pregnant for him. I had his child, and we ended up living together after that. And the rest of it is a whole book.
Gotcha. I understand. Did people in your family have any idea what you were doing, what you guys were doing? Did they know that you guys had a company like that?
Nobody in my family knew anything about it at all. And when they found out about it, they was completely shocked. And they didn't find out about it until I was arrested.
Right.
And I was arrested. His family didn't know anything about it either. Everybody was like completely shocked.
Mm.
But, the ignorance of the common person who didn't know what third-party cooperation was, they're thinking nothing of this. Like, I can talk about third-party cooperation to my family right now, and some of them say, like, what is that? And I've been talking about it to you for a long time. Like, how do you forget? But, I mean, that's just how it is. When people are not living on that scale, then they don't think about that type of stuff. But, I mean, it should be something that is known and, like you say, taught in the books, because it is something that goes on all the time.
So I have a question for you. So the federal government frowned upon the business that your husband created and that you helped him eventually manage, right?
Yes.
So my question to you
why is because they said we don't even pay people to do this type of work. So how they said again, he was a mastermind. He thought that he was smarter than everybody else when he was actually using, I guess, what he learned from working with them. And in my series, I talk about all that stuff, him working with the feds on the 5K1. And the family member that I'm telling you, how I met him, is one of the people that he ended up working undercover to get.
Your family member?
No, it was his family member. The one that how I met him.
Okay.
Yeah, his family member was like big in the game back then, and actually put him in the game. And so, from there, he started doing his own thing. He got out there big. Everybody knew him. People would tell me that's what he was doing, but he had kind of like told me after a while, hey, this is what you keep asking me what I do for a living. This is what I do for a living. And he basically took me over to his mom's house, opened up a washing machine and dryer, pulled the garbage sack out and showed me a whole bunch of cookies back then, which I didn't know what that was. He just said cookies, and it was these circular looking things. And he was telling me, hey, this is what I do for a living.
So what was he charged with when everything came crashing down?
So it was just like collar crime, a money crime.
Oh, so it was like money laundering? Was it? What was it?
Wire fraud.
Wire fraud. So, but there ain't no fraud because y'all giving niggas real shit. It wasn't no fraud in it because y'all, it ain't like you want a rat, we gonna give you something to tell on to help say to get you some time reduction.
So basically, what it came down to on the case was, when you're not supposed to be, they say that you're not supposed to take money to do this type of stuff. And I remember back at that time, he was talking to some other consultants where they had, like, you could have did a Google search on this and it would pop up on your Google search. Now I tried to do a Google search on it and it's not popping up on my Google search. Like, it was multiple different firms that were specializing in third-party cooperation, not just in the state of Texas, in multiple different states. But now when I do that search, I don't see that there.
When I first became aware of you, I did a search about different companies and firms that engaged in this kind of thing, and all I found was lawyers who had been tried and convicted for the same thing you guys are doing.
Yeah, some were lawyers now. I mean, some of them that he was talking to were lawyers, and the only thing was they were basically saying that they didn't have the informants to do the work.
There were, I think, 4 or 5 lawyers in Florida who got indicted for the same thing, where they were providing informants to jump on people's cases, and they were charging anywhere between $50,000 to $100,000, depending on how juicy or actionable the information was. Did you guys have different prices for different people?
So we charge like a retainer fee to most people. Just the retainer fee was just to look at the case, just to see if, because sometimes there's a clause in your case that says you can have third-party cooperation, because it was also in my case. Before I was sentenced, like when they did the PSR report and everything, and I also sit down with the government and did a practice what's called the Queen for a day. And so that's when you go in and you sit down with your prosecutors, United States government. And so my case wasn't just in Texas. My case was expanded across a few jurisdictions. So I was in a meeting with my very prominent attorney at this time who knew all her shit. And we're sitting there, and there's people that mean business sitting at this big table, which were United States attorneys and assistant United States attorneys. And on the TV screens were the same people from different jurisdictions as far as Texas, Florida, and New York. And I went in as I'm doing a practice which is called a Queen for a day, which is when you're able to go in and talk to the United States government. And anything that you say that even implicates you, and anything cannot be used against you. But I highly believe that's what happened in my case. But long story short, the government, after I talked to them, they're asking me all these questions, and I made it my purpose and my business to go after one person that I knew was the person that was on our case. Give all the information that I could on this person who had threw me under the bus some type of way and was walking around smiling and laughing about it.
They were free or they were locked up too?
I'm talking about he was free, never locked up, should have been in prison. And even my attorney had told me, so I knew it was real when I'm going to Florida to meet with my attorney, and then she slapped some papers in front of me saying, so if you contact, and I don't even have to say the name, you know who it is. If you contact this person in any type of way, if you threaten this person of anything like this, you're going to be getting a new charge of obstruction of justice, and you can face an additional 7 years, I think, imprisonment after you finish serving whatever time they're going to give. And so I'm looking like, what? Like, how is this even fair? Like, this person is walking around free, acting like they don't know what's going on. The person broke in my house while I was in jail waiting for a bond hearing, tried to rob me, and the government is all for this person because this person is working with them. So nothing that I said in that meeting mattered. They emailed my attorney back so fast and told her, Ms. Bush is so not forthcoming with information that we're going to move forward with the max amount of sentence that we can get her by law. And at that time, I was looking at 40 years imprisonment. I was looking at 40 years imprisonment from what they were telling me, from the information they had given to my attorney, and I was pissed off because I was like, how? Like, how does this even happen? But even being on that side, it happened to me. And so eventually I pleaded to 1 count of wire fraud in Texas and Florida, with New York drafting their case into the Florida case. And by PSR, it's been a first-time non-violent offender. I had no criminal history whatsoever. The judge gave me a top of the guideline sentence, which was 96 months, 8 years.
96 months, 8 years. Did you guys ever work hand in hand with any law firms, or was it just like a unique situation within and of itself?
It was just a unique situation. Like, so my ex was very, very, like, the feds would say how sophisticated he was. They would say how smart he was, how he thought he was smarter than everybody else. And honestly, he did think that he was smarter than everybody else. He was very, very, very smart. And so, he was already doing this stuff. He pulled me into this situation. And I'm thinking that this is very much so legit, that this is, a business that you can have. Like, never looking into if you can go to prison for anything like this. I never thought about that until I was arrested one day. But I knew that before I was arrested, I knew that something was going to happen. As I talk about it in my story, it was times when people were calling me back and saying, well, we talked to the agents and they said they talked to the informants and they came and they never came back. And like, these are people that's paid you hundreds of thousands of dollars, and he had somebody that paid him over $2 million. And so these people are now calling saying somebody like, well, we talked to the agents and the person came, they came out there, they haven't came back, they're not doing the work, we need them back out there. And so it was so many things going on with these informants, taking money, saying they were going to do work sometimes, not going back to complete work, that everything ended up just crashing down at one time. And he didn't tell me a lot of things, but he sent somebody that he was really, really close to that was an informant that had done work with him before over to the eastern region of Texas to go and talk to the feds about doing some work on a case that needed to be completed. And that person was told on that day, hey, get out of our office, don't come back, we know what you're doing, we know y'all accepting all these large amounts of money, and basically told him that he was blackballed, he cannot do any more work. And so he had, unbeknownst to me, told this to my ex, who had not told me that information.
Were there ever any situations where you guys said, nah, we ain't fucking with that. That might be too convoluted. Were there any situations where they were extreme?
It was some extreme situations. There were situations where people were calling me on the outside on burner phones, telling me, hey, I need you to fly out here and come and meet with me in person, meet me on my yacht so that I can talk to you the way that I want to talk to you and not over the phone. And at the same time, they were setting up large operations, telling me basically, you know, we're going to have this ship come through the water with all of this on there and with the people on it. After y'all do y'all thing, what some people didn't understand, it was like, after we do our thing and that happens, would he be set free immediately? Like, no. Like, it's a lot of stuff that actually goes into this. And some people did not understand that. They thought if it's this big, it's no way that this person is not going to walk out of there, which is absolutely not the case. Like, motions have to be filed. It's so much stuff that goes into that.
So were there any people in law enforcement that you guys were working hand in hand with, kind of like help move y'all cases forward faster?
No.
Or y'all had to operate. Y'all had to kind of like.
I told you that I was in contact with a lot was a DEA agent who used to work in the eastern region, who had transferred to the Mississippi region, and the girls that were working for us was actually his informants. So I was willing to do whatever it took on that extreme case that this boat is supposed to come through with all these kilos over into the Florida water. He was trying to take that boat and shift it way over here going towards the Mississippi River.
Right.
And was like, I don't know how that's going to possibly work because, you know, agents are greedy for cases. And so he was basically saying, like, that's my girls and I want the credit for that. But that actually didn't, that did not happen. Like, that whole situation ended up not happening.
Have you ever heard of the term, that's a cold game?
Yes.
So let me ask you a question. So the hot topic right now is third-party cooperation with. Have you studied or have you put your eyes on the situation between Tammy Collins and Big Meech and this whole Cuffy thing?
So I mean, people have asked me questions about it, like just hit me up saying, hey, what do you think about it, this and that. And I pretty much heard a guy talking about, you know, that Meech was involved in this stuff. And, you know, I seen another YouTube with the first lady, Miss Welch from BMF, kind of speaking about this lady and this cooperation stuff. And her interviews, I want to say 2 years ago, she was talking about it.
Tonisha, yeah.
And so
Tonisha too.
I basically haven't like just looked into it, but just from somebody saying that, my conclusion would be yes, that I think that he most likely probably did, because start looking back in history at a lot of drug lords and a lot of people call them legends. They were part of snitching, regardless of how you look at it. So I would basically think that, you know, if it's being said that, why else would you be in communication with somebody that's known as a known informant, other than some type of help that you might be acquiring from this person? Because I don't see any other reason that, you know, that situation should even, that relationship should have even just aroused in any kind of way.
Got you.
Can I ask something?
Go ahead, have at it, brother.
Listen, it sounds to me, I just want to know if I'm hearing you right. When you were saying how y'all was making money, was people that was ratting, they was also paying y'all for they can rat to get their people out?
Yeah, so that's basically how it went.
Man.
Hey, they were paying fees and they were paying like big fees for this type of work.
For them to tell.
Yeah, for them to be able to give this information to you and for you to be able to get somebody to do the work for them. And it was always told these people, like, this is not 100% guaranteed. Like, there were cases that, yes, it was guaranteed because prosecutors agreed to it, you know, but there were cases where some people's stuff is just so jacked up that nobody even want to talk to them. Like, we don't even want to hear what you got to say. You right where you at and you belong there.
Man, that was vicious there.
Thanks.
These people, they not only go rat on you, they gonna put up money to make show.
Right.
Man, that's wild. I was just making sure I understood it. You know what I'm saying?
I mean, because basically that's how I go, because the United States government was saying, well, you know, we don't pay anybody for this type of work. But I was so confused because I was like, well, I'm talking to these informants and I've talked to their boss, and this is a whole DEA agent telling me that they get paid for this. So somebody is lying. But like I said, it's really not a book. We can agree on that they go by whatever. It's pretty much no rules when you're dealing with the United States government, as I personally learned myself.
That's crazy. You hear that, dog face? They was paying to rat. Did you hear that, dog face?
Oh yeah, I heard exactly what you said. So you had multiple. This was, you had, it wasn't just, so you guys were on a payroll who would go out and acquire knowledge that y'all can then turn around and use to help other people, clients. So y'all did stockpile information to be used later?
Yeah, So, well, basically, they would give the information. The people who wanted to work, they had the information. They would give you the information.
Okay.
So they always, somebody calling you is because they want to tell on somebody.
Cool. So without saying any names, was there ever anybody in the entertainment business who tried to convince who you guys work hand in hand with?
No, nobody in the entertainment business.
No athletes or nothing like that?
No.
It was all
so basically it was family members. And a lot of these family members were people that had money, or if they didn't have money, they would go and take out loans and whatever to be able to pay for their family member, which is most likely their son who was incarcerated, telling them that they need to get out of here. And that this is the only way I can get out of here is if I work with the government.
Gotcha. So it was family and friends of people who were incarcerated.
Yes. So or sometimes you had those inmates that actually have the money on their books, and they would write you a check and send it to you. So in the feds, you can't do that. You can write a check off of your account and send it.
Gotcha. When did you guys see the walls closing in on y'all, or did it just come out? Did y'all indictment just come out the clear blue sky?
It didn't. Like I told you before, I felt like something was going to end up happening with it because it was people calling on the phone all of a sudden, like, "Hey, so what's going on with my case? I paid this money. I talked to the agents. They're saying they showed up out there. They haven't come back." Like, it was starting to be like a few phone calls coming in. And of course, you had somebody that had paid a lot of money whose son couldn't get work, and they was like losing their mind calling whoever they could call. And so, unbeknownst to me, sometime before I was ever even involved in any of this, my ex was doing this with some of the informants, and somebody went down and said, "Hey, I gave him all this money, and my son can't get help now." And the feds laughed the person out the building and basically told them that, "Well, that's what you get. Why would you pay somebody money for that? Like, we don't charge people for that type of work."
Yeah, so that's the crazy thing. Hey, you're working on some really clandestine shit for the purposes of getting your son or daughter or whoever out of prison. It ain't how you gonna go tell on a motherfucker who trying to hire motherfuckers to tell on motherfuckers to help your son. That's some backward ass dumb shit.
That's nasty work.
No, what actually happened later on was even crazier, because that same person that they laughed out 8 years before, all of a sudden, once we were indicted, they threw that case in there too. And so regardless of if I knew anything about some of these cases or not, I was part of that conspiracy. So ultimately, I went down for the whole account of everything too. Like, they don't care when it's a conspiracy. Like, you'll hear people say, "Well, I don't know this person. I didn't know that person." I don't have any kind of communication with any of these people, but it doesn't matter. It's a conspiracy. So in a conspiracy, it's everybody. If your name is called, if your name is put out there in any kind of way, whether it's true or not, if somebody's saying it or two people saying it, there you go.
Have you written a book about any of this? Do you have a book in
I have not written a book about it. I know people ask me about it, but I haven't. Basically, I'm working on my story of, our relationship. And if you look at my series, it's like a 100-point series on TikTok and also on YouTube, where I'm detailing, everything in my life, which is layers of layers of layers of things. Like, I can write book after book after book, honestly. But right now I'm trying to stick to my story.
Okay, I got you. So you mentioned your series earlier about where can your series be watched, be listened to? Where can we go find your content?
So you can look me up on TikTok at Kalitha Bush 1. It's at Kalitha Bush with the number 1. My whole series is there. I have a few series on there right now. And the series that, if they want to look at Marita and FBI Informant, that series is a 100-part series. I think it takes, if you listen to the whole series, people told me it takes like a whole day. If you just start early in the morning and to the next morning, it's like a whole day. So it took me like 3-4 months to record that whole entire series.
Okay, so it's on TikTok. It's at Kalitha Bush 1, the number 1, or the.
And also on YouTube. Also here on YouTube, at Kalitha Bush 1980.
Okay, and on YouTube. YouTube is Kalisha Bush 80.
Kalitha Bush 80, 1980.
1980. All right. Hey, listen, Miss Bush, it was a pleasure and honor. Do you have any plans on starting this up again? You guys play. Not this bullshit. So listen,
hell no.
No, hell no. I got you. So listen, I'm a funny motherfucker when I want to be, Miss Bush. You know how we do. So listen, what are your plans now? How long have you been home?
So I've been home for 2 years now.
Okay.
2 years now. I'm actually trying to get into starting my own organization with bill writing laws for federal and state inmates who are incarcerated. I want to try to put a dent in some of the things, because we know that people do commit. There's a lot of people incarcerated for committing crimes in their youth, and still incarcerated with life sentences. And I do believe that people do go out of crime. I have friends who go out of crime after doing 20, 30 years. So I do know in some instances that, yes, there are some good people who made a mistake when they were incarcerated that I feel like they should home.
We don't go. OOTA.
And I want to work with my state legislators to be able to at least try to visit that arena.
Any questions, public figure Boogie? Juice, Uncle Juice, any questions here?
No, that was. No, I ain't got no questions.
We fucked up. Hey, Kalitha, we fucked up over here.
Man, she messed me up with that.
No, for real, like genuine, because neither one of us are known for. Look at Boogie's face right now. Boogie's above you. You see how stupid Boogie looking right now? Boogie like,
yeah, like I can't trust nobody.
Man, nigga scratch back.
I ain't fucking with nobody. Listen, no one got me. That's why I had to ask Darby. Let me just ask this before I let her get away. They paying to rap.
Yeah.
That's out cold. You gonna be dishonorable and you gonna pay to do it.
Yeah.
So what this does is, because the hot topic is third-party cooperation, because of what we are seeing with the Tammy Collins and the Big Meech and the Cuffy thing, right? So for all of you people who are saying or who have said or who are under the impression, if you think that this stops when Miss Bush and her ex-husband got indicted, if you think that these plays are not being ran right now, it's too much money involved with this for it to have stopped when Miss Bush and her ex-husband were incarcerated for it. This shit ain't never gonna stop, because really all you gotta do is try to. They was running the. Man, go ahead out. Hey, Miss Bush, I have somebody.
Nothing to go subscribe to Udo and go though. Go subscribe to
the Bush. Hopes that nobody find out that they did that.
Yes.
That's all I'm gonna say about that.
First of all, Miss Bush, motherfuckers just be telling.
Yeah, they got some people that just like they're like, even in my situation, like, person lived in our house, slept in our kids' beds, ate at our table with us sometimes, was really good friends with my ex for years, and was the person that was working with the kids. So you just never know. It could be, I put it past my mama, daddy, sister, brother, any uncle, cousin. Let's just say that, because nobody is really to be trusted when it comes to your freedom and for theirs also, because some people don't want to go to prison.
Hey, you see how stupid we looking right now? Watch this. Look at reaction. Look, just Juice right here. Come on, look at Boogie like, and it's me.
I mean,
bro, this shit got me fucked up.
Yeah, it got me. I don't know what to say about.
Like, you could run down third party stories all we want, but when you got somebody who was actually running an organization and third party snitching,
yeah,
and she let you know.
Oh, sadly, that'll be me. I was part of that trend at the time.
Okay, well,
and that stop with me, like you said. I'm pretty sure that it's a lot of people out there who are willing to test the waters, as well as people who are on the inside that's willing to use whoever they can. Because even in my situation, in my story, if you listen to the whole thing, I talk about how my ex, even after we were incarcerated and I made bond, he never got a bond, and I was able to go back home. The first phone call he got with me and him had, he was asking me to please contact the federal agents and work with them on his behalf. He said, everybody knows you. Like, basically, he was a household name. And so everybody in Houston, and everybody just knew this guy. So he was like, I can give you the information, and I cut him off so fast. I cut him like a sword. Like, I can't believe that you would try to jeopardize I'm already in some shit because of you. While he's telling me, oh, don't worry about nothing. They don't have anything on you. Telling me, I just need you to do this for me. So still, he was still willing to risk me some more so that he wouldn't have to go to prison.
He ain't care nothing about you.
That was the part that did it for me right then, and I really realized it should have been before that, but that was just like the end of everything right there.
Most niggas ain't shit.
Yeah.
All niggas. Don't put it on all niggas. Most niggas ain't shit.
Hey, Miss Bush, listen. If you wrote a book, I think, your book would be on the New York Times bestseller list. And as far as, I think you should think about podcasting as well.
Yeah, so I've had some offers for some podcasts. I just my life ain't all the way together yet, but it is definitely something that I do want to look into doing, because I know so many.
We're on the team,
like,
oh yeah.
Welch, I was telling her recently about a really good friend of mine who I met while I was incarcerated. I have so many friends who could tell stories. Not that they were involved, like I was talking to the people receiving payments, but guys who basically threw their lives away so that they wouldn't have to go to prison, because they basically turned fed on the person that they was living with that was in the same field that they was in. Like, it's some crazy stuff out there. And I want to be able to do like a podcast, and I want to cater to like women being able to tell that story about how, my ex, whoever, I ended up being incarcerated behind them because.
Hey, listen, Ms. Bush, I want to thank you for coming on our show and giving us some game and clarifying what is considered to be one of the biggest mysteries in the Fed game right now, because we had so many people who were saying that this does not exist. It doesn't happen like this. You're wrong. You're wrong. You're wrong. My last question is that were there any jurisdictions that you guys wanted to work in, like any federal jurisdictions that wouldn't accept, or that you guys couldn't work with in terms of providing actionable? Were there any? Because some people are saying that there's certain federal jurisdictions that don't allow third-party cooperation, or doesn't allow information to come in.
I would tell you right now, I absolutely don't believe that, because there's no federal agency that is able to probably even keep their jobs without being able to go out and arrest somebody for a crime that they're currently committing or have committed that hasn't been solved. So I would absolutely say I don't believe that, because these federal agents are hungry for arrest, and they want to be able to have their name up there so they can climb in the ranks and be able to say, I did this, this, and this.
Yeah.
So I doubt very seriously that there's an agency within the federal government that would say, no, we don't do that over here at this office. don't make sense.
Don't make no sense, because what we do know for a fact is 90% of the crimes that get solved, whether it's on the federal or state level, they're solved at the help or cooperation of somebody, of an informant, of a snitch. Come on now.
Yes.
Anybody who don't believe that is fucking delusional as a motherfucker.
Some people are delusional because maybe you got to think about like what have they done before.
Hold on. Oh yeah, niggas, and listen, all this acting like you don't know it exists, it ain't because you don't believe it exists, nigga. It's because you niggas done did it, and y'all try to act like y'all don't understand what the fuck going on. I know it's some of that shit going on.
They got away with it all these years, and they scared that somebody.
Oh, can I ask you one more thing? What about this? The names being in the paperwork.
So, like I said before, that absolutely could be true. The name could be in there, and it can also not. It depends on the government. The government, like even in my situation, that person's name was not in my paperwork. That person was the what they considered was a cooperating witness, basically a snitch. And even my attorney said, I don't even have to say the name. You know exactly who it is, because I had already told her what I thought about the situation. I'm like, everybody's in jail. Everybody's in jail, and this person is not. How is that even possible? And she said, and even to the end, she said, the government, because they want to find somebody to blame and don't want to put the persons more so responsible and hold them accountable, that is looking like they're going to come down on you. It's coming down on you in the end. And that's basically how I feel. I feel like, you know, the government was coming down on me only because of my affiliation with him. Because like they told me, they say, well, if you didn't know, you should have known.
If you didn't know, you should have known.
If you didn't know that this was illegal, you should have known. Like basically, at the end of the day, we don't care what you're saying. At the end of the day, we got the person that we want. And even on sentencing day in court, I remember his attorney, my ex-attorney, standing up there. And I was like, what the hell? He stood up there in court proudly and said they wanted him to get a lesser end of a sentence. Like, could y'all come down on the sentence some on him, because he's going to do so much good work in his jurisdiction like he did in Texas. And I was just like, what the heck is going on around here? Y'all put him in prison for 20 years, and now y'all still willing to work with him.
They don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck.
It was crazy. Like, I just couldn't believe it.
They don't give a fuck. They don't give a fuck. So listen, welcome home.
Thank you. Thank you.
Do good work. Do good work. Not this work.
Absolutely not. I would never have been involved in anything like that.
But your experience puts you in a unique position to be able to help so many people from the opposite end of the spectrum. I'm just all jokes aside. Your experience is an experience that you're in the 1 percentile of people who understands that this does happen and understands all the intricate components of how it happens. So you gave me so much insight. You gave the world so much insight about what's going on here, man. I hope that everybody who tuned in or people who will see this later will take from this. And your social media is what? Tell us what your social media is.
So I'm on Facebook, Kalitha Bush. Instagram, same thing, Kalitha Bush. TikTok, at Kalitha Bush 1. YouTube, Kalitha Bush 1980. So you can basically just put my name in there. You should be able to find me.
It's gonna pop up. I want to thank you for joining us, the YouTube streets. Thank you, Dogface TV. Thank you on behalf of my partners, Public Figure Boogie TV, Uncle the Beat Factory, and for Detroit Gospel could be here, but I play a partner, and Henny Says Reviews. Thank you. I appreciate you. I look forward to speaking to you again. Salute. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Salute. Thank you, sister, and welcome home.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. I'm happy to be here.
Thanks.
I have so many.
We look forward to all working.
No more great sweats.
And then listen, you can come back anytime you want to. This platform is your platform to use. Anytime you want to communicate something to the world, all you got to do is come on YouTube streets. We're going to put you out there. You can talk your shit.
Okay. Thank you so much. And I hope we can do this again soon.
Absolutely. Thank you. Have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Background, no job.
Hi, I'm Jared, and I use Bittrex 24 to manage projects because it gives me choice.
Cash, huge hub. Detroit's a huge Midwest hub. So that's coming in, and it got so to the point, Johnny, that they started sending like about 45, like 2 to 3 metric tons of pot. Yeah, and I'm moving this in like a day and a half, 2 days. When they come in, they would start saying, well, when they come in, listen, we at least need 1 million or 1.5. I was like, okay, no problem, and I would have it. Okay. They would have the truck sit there and wait. This would come, and I literally probably within a few hours I would have like 1.5, 1.7. Wow. And my brother was raping me, charging me like $9.50, crazy numbers. $9.50 a pound? Yeah. Okay. How much were you turning that over? Listen, I was selling it, Johnny. I wasn't even counting. And this is what happened. But how much are you charging on a pound? Like if you get it for $9.50 and you sell a guy 500 pounds? Sometime I wouldn't make nothing. No, it sounds crazy to you, but sometime I wouldn't make nothing. Like my one guy that's buying that volume like that, maybe $25 on him or something, sometimes nothing. Because I'm working on something bigger. Sure. Okay. So because what's happening, this shit moving so fast now. Within a matter of hours, I'd have made it $200,000-$300,000. You might get it, what, $975? I might charge you $1,000, or if you ain't got it all, pay me later. And because what happened after it was about 3 months of that, I had like $1 million in weed. That was mine. Wow. Just for making $25, $50 a pound. And that's how quick that was going. And I didn't know, and this is how I found that out. Because I'm going through my math. I'm thinking about what I got to pay my brother, right? He's like, man, you only owe me a couple $100,000. No, man, your numbers is wrong. I got a basement full of weed down here. Your numbers are wrong. Man, my numbers ain't wrong. Check your numbers again. I go down there and check numbers. And I got U-Haul boxes, because the big U-Haul box, only 4 25-pound bales could fit in those. I still got boxes up the ass of marijuana. That's how I figured out how much money I had. And at that time, I think I had like $750,000 in marijuana. That was mine. How I did it? I don't know. I was just moving it. So when that happened, I'm rich, bitch.
Yeah.
For real.
So now you got a war chest. Now you got $1 million. It's yours.
That's all mine.
Okay.
But then what started to happen, they started to play games. Because what I started doing, I started making them come down. They had another group inside the city that they were working with. So they were trying to transition and switching over to them because I had made that market so lucrative. So the whole thing was to switch the market over to somebody else, charge them a higher price, and just have the customers go to them. It's the same weed.
Fascinating.
But what they didn't know, I had a cousin over there that was on that team. And I'd had him working with me. So he started telling me, hey, these 2 guys, they're reaching over and they're talking to, my guys about trying to send over to them now. Okay. I'm talking to the young lady at the strip club. She wants to get an exercise gym, workout gym. She's a workout freak. So I already started to go down and see her. So I'm starting to tell her I need another connection. And, well, I don't know, baby, I might have something for you and da-da-da-da. So I'm feeding her money. That's what Detroit do. We feed bitches money. You know what I'm saying? And she ends up introducing me to a guy named B. Brian. But he has a weird name, so we just call himself Brian. So she had me at, I think the hotel's the Phoenician out there. Phoenician, I can't remember what city in Arizona. But I guess Michael Jordan and Charles Barkley used to go out there. I think it was like $1,000 or $1,500 a night or something like that. Real bougie bitch. But anyway, she has him come out and meet me.
Scottsdale?
Scottsdale. That's it. Scottsdale. So she has him come out to meet me, and we're sitting and we're talking. We're talking about the amount of volume that I'm looking for. And I'm telling
this is a Mexican guy as well.
This is a Mexican guy.
Let me ask you before we go further. Do we know what organization these guys are with on the other side? Are they with a cartel? What kind of...
Now, Brian was not with a cartel. Are you talking about Mario and Frank?
Mario and Frank.
I found out that Mario and Frank's uncle was. Because that's the one that the girl that I was dating.
Right, okay.
But exactly what cartel, I don't know. But an interesting story comes up in a little while.
Let you get to it. Yeah.
Okay. So
you're talking to B.
I'm talking to B. We're talking, and I'm telling him the volume I want. I keep saying I need volume. I need volume. I need to at least be able to put my hands on 2 to 3 tons
per month.
I was doing that, Johnny, in less than a week.
Right.
But I'm not telling him that. I'm just telling him what I need.
Right.
Okay. Now, from my old head, this is important. My old head told me, with dealing with those individuals down there, never tell them you have money to buy. Just tell them you can move it. And the reason why, he said, because there's informants down there. And their job is to set you up. But they can't make no money if you don't come with cash, because they get a percentage of the money.
Wow.
So if you say you don't have no money, they're going to say, fuck you, and move on.
Right. Wow.
So
mind-blowing tip.
Exactly. So that's what I'm telling him. I don't have no money, but I can move it. I have no money, but I can move it. So she used to date him when they were younger. So he really wants to give her. He's in love with her. Beautiful girl, And I had that problem. So anyway, what happens is he said, well, listen, how do you feel about going across? I ain't trying to go over there. He said, listen, my friend, I could take you across. We could talk to some people. And so he eventually took me over at some point, and we met with the Tijuana cartel. So that's how that started.
And you went down into Tijuana?
But it wasn't, not yet. We're just talking right now.
All right.
Okay, but he's eventually going to take me there. So just give me a look. Okay, so he said he's going to call some people. So she comes back. Now, at this time, it's kind of crazy. She's beautiful, but she likes to work out. And maybe work out a little hard sometimes.
Who are looking for distressed properties that they can either buy, fix, and flip for profit, or buy, fix, and rent for cash flow. These investors have cash or access to cash, and they're actively, eagerly looking for good deals every single day. What a real estate wholesaler does is he goes out in the marketplace and he finds and sources good deals for these investors, and he actually negotiates and enters into contracts on these discounted properties. Once a wholesaler has a contract with a seller, he now controls that property and takes the deal to an active cash buyer and offers to let him step in and take over the position in the contract and buy the property directly from the seller, of course, for a fee. The wholesaler's profit on a deal is the difference between what a cash buyer pays for the right to buy the position on the contract and what the wholesaler has the contract for with the seller. For example, if the cash buyer will pay $175,000 for the deal and the wholesaler has the contract with the seller for $165,000, the wholesaler has a $10,000 spread on the deal. Wholesalers are extremely valuable in the marketplace because they do the work to find, source, and bring good deals to cash buyers. Get good at wholesaling, and you can do multiple deals each month and make 6 and even 7 figures a year in income. That's my story nearly 20 years ago. I was working in construction, earning minimum wage, and discovered wholesaling and started doing around 5 deals a month. Within 3 years, I became a millionaire, and I haven't looked back since. If you don't know me, I'm Jerry Norton. I make millions of dollars a year wholesaling and flipping real estate. And here on my channel, I show you how to do the same. So if you want to be a flipping genius like me and live your dream life, subscribe to my channel and watch my videos. If you're just getting started, then follow these 10 steps to get your first deal in as little as 21 days. Step 1 is to set up your business. Now, while it isn't critical to doing your first deal, why wait? Transacting in an entity gives you liability protection and tax advantages because you can write off expenses. And most importantly, it shows a higher commitment level because you're treating it like a business, not a hobby. It's just the right way to get started with any new business, especially wholesaling houses. Now, to set up your business, you'll need to do 3 things. First, register an entity with your state. 2, get a tax ID number so you can file a tax return. And 3, open a business bank account. I refer all of my students to Prime Corporate Services. They specialize in helping real estate investors get set up quickly, and they're really good. They'll even do a free consultation call with you to discuss what's best for you based on your goals. I'll put a link in the description where you can set up that free call. Step 2 is to choose and learn your market. Now, your market is the geographical area where you're going to focus on for finding deals and finding cash buyers for your deals. Since you will be investing time and resources, it's very important that you are clear about your market and commit 100% to that market. Changing markets is starting over at 0, so be very intentional about choosing your market. The good news is no longer does your market need to be local to where you live. You can choose a remote market. This is called virtual wholesaling. Here are some important tips when choosing your market. First is the population needs to be big enough so there are plenty of opportunities in terms of both deals and cash buyers. Avoid rural markets. Choose a county that has at least a population of 500,000. If you do consider a deal in a smaller town, it needs to be no more than 45 minutes drive to a major metro city. Otherwise, it will be difficult to find a cash buyer. Step 3 is to generate leads. Now, a lead is a distressed property. The goal is to identify leads every day that you can go after and hopefully find a motivated seller. A motivated seller is a property owner who will gladly sell their property at a discount and give up equity in exchange for peace of mind. For example, someone in pre-foreclosure, a tired landlord, someone who moved out of state and now the property is vacant, someone who inherited a property, and dozens of other lead types. These owners desperately want out from under the stress that property is causing them, and your job is to help them. Lead generation is the lifeblood to your wholesaling business. Without enough leads, you simply can't find enough motivated sellers, and you won't do your first deal. Now, I created a report that has over 67 different ways to find motivated sellers, and I'll give that to you for free. Check in the description box below for the download link. Now, while there are several different methods to generate leads, some expensive, some low cost, and some free, one of the most effective methods is to acquire a list of distressed seller leads. Fortunately, there are data software providers that compile, organize, and provide seller leads. Most of these softwares require a monthly subscription for a minimum amount of downloads with additional upcharges for more leads. That's why I recommend PropWire. PropWire is free to search and download as many leads as you want. Not only does PropWire have over 157 million records nationwide, it's also really easy to use. All you do is choose your market, choose your lead, search, and download. And don't forget, it's absolutely free to search and download as many leads as you want. No monthly subscription and no additional upcharges for more data. And what could possibly be better than free? Nothing is better than free, especially when you're just getting started. Check it out at joinpropwire.com and see for yourself. Another free method to generate leads is to contact real estate agents. Some sellers decide to list their distressed properties for sale using real estate agents. These are considered hot leads because the seller is actively trying to sell his unwanted property. On listed distressed properties, the best strategy is to use my double dip technique. This is where you go directly to the listing agent representing.
Every great journey begins with a single step. And that first step forward is where dreams become plans.
Representing the seller and offer to let that agent also represent you. By doing so, that agent will get double commission and work hard to help you get the deal. They will also bring you repeat deals ongoing, so creating agent relationships in your market is a powerful strategy. And remember, doing deals with agent doesn't cost you anything because the seller pays the commissions, not the buyer. By the way, I'll give you my agent scripts for free so you know exactly what to say and how to overcome objections. Just go to agentofferscripts.com for the free download. I also created an exact blueprint to do 3 to 5 deals a month just working with agents. I did a video that breaks it down in detail. I'll put the link to that video in the description below for you. Also, keep in mind, PropWire has on-market properties listed with agents as well, so it really is your go-to for leads. Again, just go to joinpropwire.com. Once you've generated some distressed property leads, it's time for step 4, which is to calculate your offer price, or what's called your maximum allowable offer, or MAO. You can't make an offer to the seller if you don't first figure out what the right price is so you actually make money on the deal. The MAO is the price you need to get the contract for with the seller that factors in your desired wholesale profit. In wholesale real estate, when calculating an offer price on a particular deal, the idea is to figure out what an investor would pay in cash to buy that property in that neighborhood and in that condition. Once you know what price makes it a good deal to a local active buyer, simply back out your wholesale fee, and what's left is your MAO. For example, a flipper who would be interested in buying the property, fixing it up, and then flipping it for a profit is going to look at the after repair value, or the price he can sell for later after it's fixed up. He's going to look at the cost of repairs. He's going to have to factor in closing costs and commissions to sell it. He's probably going to borrow money to do the deal, so he'll have financing costs to factor in based on how long it takes him to do the flip, and he's going to want to make a profit. A good wholesaler knows how to look at the deal from the investor's perspective so they can figure out what's a good deal. But this step often trips up a lot of new wholesalers because they overthink it and spend way too much time analyzing the numbers. That's why I created a simple offer calculator for wholesalers where it calculates the average as-is value of the property and automatically calculates your offer price with built-in wholesale profit. It's great because you don't have to spend any time analyzing comps. to figure out the after repair value, and you don't have to estimate repairs. It's plug and play and instantly gives you an offer price, and I'll give it to you for free. Just go to freeoffercalculator.com to get the download. Once you determine your offer price, it's time for step 5, which is to actually present your offer to the seller. And when it comes to making offers, there is a very valuable lesson you need to understand. And the more you get this idea, the faster you'll get to your first deal or your next deal. Are you ready for some profound advice? You're gonna wanna write this down. Are you ready? The more offers you make, the more deals you'll do, and the more money you'll earn. Let me say that again. In fact, to prove that you're paying attention, write the following in the comments below. The more offers you make, the more deals you'll do, and the more money you'll earn. Then throw in there, Jerry, you are a flipping genius, for good measure. Although that may seem obvious, most new wholesalers don't get it. You have to be willing to make a lot of offers. Keep in mind, you're looking for the 5% of all transactions that happen every single month in any given marketplace where the seller is motivated to sell his property at a discount. Understand this, most people are gonna say no, which means the more no's you get, the faster you'll burn through the 95% who aren't motivated, and the faster you'll find the 5% who are motivated. It's that simple. It's just a numbers game. Here's my advice to all new wholesalers. If you're not willing to make 100 offers to get one deal, then you have no business being a wholesaler. I did a video where I outlined a detailed game plan for making 5 offers a day like clockwork. I'll put that video link in the description below for you. Once you've started making offers, that special moment is gonna happen where the seller says yes to your offer. So step 6 is to execute a contract. You don't have a deal until you have a contract, because your contract is what you're gonna sell to a cash buyer. If the deal is on market, the agent will write and present the offer to the seller using their state-approved contract. But you still need to make sure that contract is written with everything you need to wholesale it. I did a video where I break down exactly what to include in an on-market contract. Link in the description. With off-market, there is no agent involved, so you have to write and present the contract to the seller. If you're a member of my wholesale CRM system called Flipster, my digital contracts are standard. It takes a minute to fill out, and then you just email it directly to the seller, and they sign it electronically right on the spot. To check out Flipster on a 7-day free trial, just go to joinflipster.com. As part of your contract with the seller, you may have earnest money that you agree to pay. Earnest money is a good faith deposit that is held in escrow at the title company until the day of closing, at which time it's reimbursed to you. I'll explain in a minute, so keep watching. Try to give yourself about 3 weeks for closing if you can, so you have plenty of time to find a cash buyer. Now, I also highly recommend including a 10-day inspection clause in your contract. That gives you time as well to renegotiate or terminate the contract if you discover you don't have a good deal. Once you've executed the contract with the seller, it's time for step 7, which is to open escrow with a title company. A title company is going to do a title search to verify who owns the property and find out if there are any issues such as liens or unpaid property taxes, etc. They're going to prepare everything for closing, where change of ownership will happen between the seller and the new buyer, which we'll cover in a minute. Since you're going to assign the contract to a cash buyer, make sure you open escrow with a title company that understands how to do that. Surprisingly, not all do. We call this a wholesaler-friendly title company. I did a video where I explained how to find a wholesaler-friendly title company in your market, link in the description below. After you open escrow, it's time for step 8 to find a cash buyer. As you go and over time, your goal is to build a list of cash buyers in your market. That way, every time you get a new deal, you have ready-to-go buyers for it. But in the beginning, you just need a buyer for your first few deals while you're building your list. So let me share with you my top 3 favorite methods to find a cash buyer. The first method I call the neighborhood flipper method. The idea here is to find other flippers who bought a house, fixed it up, and then sold it or has it listed for sale in the same area as your deal. Flippers love to do deals in the same areas where they've previously done deals, so this is a solid strategy. I did a video where I show live how to find flippers near your deal and contact them about your deal. I'll put the link to that video in the description below. My favorite method number 2 to find a cash buyer is using local Facebook investor groups. Every metro market has several public Facebook groups where investors hang out, discuss investing stuff, and post their deals. Obviously, some groups are better than others.
I wholesale, but not the way that the traditional way, not the way that most people do it. I wholesale commercial real estate, okay, not residential. This property was 33,000 square feet of office space. Got this thing under contract for $1.2 million and ended up assigning this contract for $1.5 million. You can do the math on that though, right? That's not 5 years of appreciation. That's not taking.
It really comes down to how well the admin monitors and maintains the integrity of the group and removes spamming and soliciting and really upholds the group's purpose and rules. You want to join all the groups in your market. Once you've joined all the groups, make a post about your deal. I did a video where I show how to create a simple video flyer about your deal that will stand out above all the other posts so you get a buyer super fast for your deal. I'll put the link to that video in the description below for you. And finally, favorite method number 3 to find a cash buyer is best if you're serious about killing it wholesaling houses, and that's searching and downloading a list of active cash buyers from PropWire. Yes, PropWire also has cash buyers and even has a really cool feature where you can look up how many properties the cash buyer owns to see how big of a player they are. And again, it's absolutely free to search and download an unlimited number of leads. Just go to joinpropwire.com. And to really help you get comfortable talking and building relationships with cash buyers, I'll give you my word-for-word scripts for free. These include my scripts for texting, voicemail, emails, etc. Check in the description box below for that download link. And a fourth bonus method to find a cash buyer is not to. I'll be your buyer. I fix and flip houses all over the US, and I'll pay you $10,000 for every deal you find that meets my criteria. If that sounds exciting, go to my10kcheck.com to register for a free training to learn all the details. Once you've identified your highest and best offer from a cash buyer, it's time for step 9, which is to execute an assignment contract if you're doing a single closing. The assignment contract is what allows the cash buyer to step in and take over the contract with the seller of course, for a fee. And again, if you have my wholesaler CRM system, Flipster, then a digital assignment contract is included, which makes it really easy to send to your cash buyers for electronic signatures. To test drive it on a 7-day free trial, just go to joinflipster.com. Now, quick tip, make sure to get a sizable non-refundable deposit from your cash buyer. I suggest at least $2,500, maybe even more. This makes sure your cash buyer is committed and shows up on the day of closing. Once you have your executed contract and non-refundable deposit, get both over to the title agent who you opened escrow with. Now they have the original contract with you and the seller and the assignment contract with you and your cash buyer. And if they're good, they'll handle everything from there. And finally, step 10 is to close and get paid. On the day of closing, title will close with the seller and your cash buyer and wire you your wholesale fee. That means you don't need to attend closing. I haven't been to a closing in years. Now, following this 10-step process I outlined in this video, it's possible that you could get your first deal in as little as 21 days, but hopefully your goal isn't to just do one wholesale deal, but to consistently do deals each and every month. That means instead of chasing after a deal, learn how to run a business that does deals. There's a big difference. And if you'd like to work directly with me and learn how to make a 6 and even 7-figure income while partnering on deals with me so you earn while you learn, then check out my mentor and partner program called Fast Track. For free training with all the details, just go to fasttrackwithjerry.com. And finally, if you're new to wholesaling and you have time but no money, I did a detailed video where I show step-by-step how to do 3 to 5 deals a month. Watch that now, and I'll see you on the next video.
Hey, Robert Hertrick from Shark Tank. I'm a huge fan. Hey, what is your #1 tip for saving money? Easy. Pay off your credit.
I mean, I'm interested. I'm cash. I can close super fast. I really would like to be more around 210. But again, like I'm in a week. On this video, you're going to look over my shoulder and watch me find and wholesale a house. And the best part is I did it remotely without ever seeing the property. And my total time from start to finish on the entire deal was less than 1 hour. So if you want to learn how to make $5,000 an hour, this is a video you don't want to miss. Coming up.
Go to 8weekacademy.com to claim your free copy of Jerry Norton's most popular training. In it, he reveals his blueprint for making $100,000 per year with real estate.
If you're new here, I'm Jerry Norton. I went from dead broke to millionaire flipping houses, and after doing 1,000 deals, I created this channel to help you master the art of wholesaling and flipping real estate so you can live your dream life. Be sure to subscribe and click the bell icon to get notified when new videos are released. Every Saturday, I do a video series called the Watch Me Wholesale.
All right, everybody. So this is not HGTV. This is JGTV. We're here to keep it real and talk about the good, the bad, and the ugly on this channel. So in today's video, I really want to share some tips that I think is going to help you when you're funding your deals and paying your contractors as well, right? So we had a ton of things happen over the last couple of days. This is day number 4 on this particular project. My contractor that I'm working with right now, he can get it done in as little as 2 weeks, but other things are going to slow us down. For example, I had the HVAC guy come out yesterday. He's starting tomorrow. I had the plumber come out. You saw him downstairs, but he's going to start the full project tomorrow. And also the electrician. Now, the electrician that we had come out, he can't get started for a month from now. So that's throwing me back an entire month. So now we're in search for another electrician. The electrician is slowing down the entire project because we could literally be done with this house in under 30 days, but that's not the case. But anyway, that's not what this video is about. What it is about is 3 things that nobody talks about when it comes to flipping houses. All right, so the first tip that I want to share with you today is how to fund the deals. A lot of people don't talk about how they do this. There's a couple of different ways to do it. You have your own personal lines of credit. You have your own personal cash. You have hard money. You have private money. There's a lot of different ways to do it. You can use partnerships and things like that. On this particular house, I used private money. And I treat my private money as if it's hard money. So I structure the deals the same exact way. Now, with hard money, most people watching this right now are brand new to the business. You're probably going to use hard money. It is the easiest money to get when you're investing in real estate. But because it's so easy to get, it comes with a high interest rate. Most private money is going to cost you somewhere right around 12% interest. It can fluctuate, it can go up, it can come down a little bit, but it's going to be right around 12%. And most hard money lenders are going to require you to pay 2 to 3 points up front. 2 to 3 points basically means a percentage of the loan, 2 to 3% of the loan. So let's just say, for example, you borrow $100,000 from a hard money lender. They're going to charge you $2,000 to $3,000 up front that you have to bring to the closing table in order for them to be able to release and fund the deal. So you got 2 to 3 points up front. You're going to have at least a 12% interest rate. And just to put that in layman's terms, when it comes to interest rate, let's say they charge you 12% amortized over the course of the year per month. So let's say you borrow $100,000 again, your monthly payment is going to be right around $1,000 a month, interest only. So you're not paying down the principal, you're only paying interest on that money. So literally every day you own the house costs you money. You need to, especially when you're doing these rehab projects, you need to move quickly in order to be able to get in and out and be able to get that money released off your books. All right. So most people watching this are going to be using hard money when they first start. And then as you build up your own capital, I personally, I've been doing this for over 22 years, 23 years. I still use hard money. I don't have to use my own personal capital. I can do other things with my money. So I don't mind paying the interest, especially when I'm going to make $40, $50, $60,000 on a house anyway. It doesn't make sense not to use somebody else's money to do it. So just expect to pay 2 to 3 points up front. Expect to pay at least 1% per month. Give and take who you use with, what hard money lender you use. They can fluctuate. They have their own rules. But always remember that hard money is the easiest money you can get when it comes to funding these types of deals. All right, so that's hard money lending 101. Yeah, so we're going to go gray, bro.
You want to hold today?
Yeah, we're going to do gray and probably white trim. Okay. You know what I mean? Electrician said he's going to tear this down and run a wire. I don't know how he's going to do that. But I got 2 more electricians coming because that guy can't show up for 4 weeks. So I'm trying to work around that, man. They slowing us down. You know what I mean?
So you leave this thing white, looking nice.
You think so?
Yeah, you don't need to
white. Yeah. I agree with that, man. I definitely agree with that. Let's leave the molding, bro. Let's paint all of the molding white, right? Okay. And let's paint this. We're gonna go gray.
Right, and then wall gray.
Yeah, wall gray. Yep. You think we should go darker gray right here? I don't think we really need to, bro. That's too much. Like I'm trying to be in and out.
One color is good.
One color is good. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. So we're gonna up here is this is a bonus room, so we're just gonna make it look nice. What I do want to show you is downstairs. So right here with these floors, man. You think we can refinish these?
Maybe put the lemon floors.
Yeah, that's better.
Nice, man.
Yeah, it's gonna look a lot nicer.
No,
These floors are not.
Nobody do more.
They don't do that. Why?
I like it. And the new houses, lemon.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, so I mean, we'll go LV.
The guy come to send this thing doesn't work.
No, but then you see this little dip right here.
Yeah.
This is you got this dip right here. So yeah, I agree with that, man. I'll probably spend more money trying to finish it up than to we'll stick with the LVP. That's cool. HVAC guy, he's gonna cut out that square. He's gonna add because we're gonna have to have we can't add this door. Where's the heat going? The way to do it. So the cold goes off the cut a square and add a vent there, but you can't see through it, so it's perfect. You know what I mean? So we'll definitely do that. Outside of that, man, downstairs, that galvanized piping, your boy was gonna take care of that. What's his name? The plumber? Gustavo, yeah. So he's gonna take care of that. He's supposed to be coming out here today, you said. So that's perfect. I'm trying to get the electrician out here, man. That's the thing that's slowing in 2 weeks, man. What's that?
The water leaking in there.
Okay. So you just connected it right there?
Yeah, I connected.
Okay, perfect.
One. The problem is right here, this pipe is no good.
Where's that pipe go?
That's the shower.
That's the shower? Yeah, so he gonna replace that.
This is a need replacement.
Yeah, and we still gonna spray paint this black. Yeah. So what's up, Gustavo?
How you doing, man?
How you feel, bro? You all right?
Doing good, man. Doing good.
Yeah, that probably gotta be replaced, right?
Yeah, man. You see
Yeah.
this pipe right here?
Yeah, that's what I was saying.
Well, we need to put a new drain, I guess, in this stuff too.
No problem, bro. So quick question, bro. What do you think what do you think all this gonna run me roughly?
This here, man, we charge for feature $200, right? So to put a new washing machine right here, drains and water lines, there's gonna be with the parts and labor is gonna be like a $1,450 to $1,500. It's $1,300. That's like $1,300, man. And these water lines in here, they need to replace it. The one is back, and that's right there. It's like $750 to $800.
So we're at what is
we
that?
are like.
What if you could make $5,000 to $20,000 flipping houses without using your own money, without risk, and without buying or selling anything yourself? Well, it's called wholesaling, and all you need is this one-page contract that I'm going to give you for free. I'm Jerry Norton, and for over 20 years, I've helped thousands of people just like you make money wholesaling houses.
We are like in $3,500.
Yeah,
something like that.
yeah, that's good. Let's make it happen, man.
Okay.
All right. So the second tip that I want to share with you that a lot of people don't talk about. In fact, I've never heard anybody talk about this step, but it's super important. Is to get a ducks are in a row. You want to make sure that you're filing your taxes properly. So the best thing to do is to get a W-9 sign, right? You want to make sure you have that. This is my contractor right here. Make sure you have that W-9 taken care of, and Uncle Sam will be taken care of as well. All right, so what's happening right now, dumpster on the property. The problem is in the front of the house, there's low electric lines on the street, so we can't park it there. And we have to get the permission from the neighbor to be able to go through their yard to bring it on to my property. The problem with this is if we lay it here on this property,